Chapter 1061. The Black Horse Club's reputation had finally spread to the inner circle of the Purple Cloud King Valley. Lin Chen's achievements in the past were not enough to attract the attention of these super families. Even though Lin Chen had skimmed over some details, this green-clothed elder was not easy to fool. At the very least, this child had a life-and-death relationship with the little demon empress. The green-clothed elder said, "Your current realm is your true cultivation, right?" Lin Chen nodded. Yes, this junior used a secret technique to barely have the power of the saint realm to deal with the saints. The green-robed old man smiled. If you can really become a saint this year, then you'll be a true, monstrous genius. However, in this world, strength is king. At the very least, you have this trump card. Based on this alone, you won't be inferior to any of the geniuses on the genius ranking. But this trump card of mine can only be used once. Lin Chen laughed bitterly in his heart, then asked, "Senior, how long have I been unconscious?" At this time, the door was pushed open, and another elder in sackcloth entered. He said seriously, 3 days and 3 nights. Your vitality is quite tenacious. Your recovery speed is almost like that of an archaic descendant's cub. The elder in sackcloth had been eavesdropping outside. He was afraid that this kid's relationship with the little demon empress was that kind of relationship. If he was the future son-in-law of the King Valley, then the Purple Cloud King Valley would be turned upside down in an instant. Fortunately, but if those brats knew that Miss gave her royal order to a young boy, I'm afraid they would all go crazy, right? Huh? The elder in sackcloth laughed in his heart, but his expression was serious. Kid, our Miss is indebted to you. You don't have to worry about resting here for a while. With us here, not many people in the southern region would dare to touch you. Lin Chen nodded. Then thank you, senior. This junior just happens to need some time to recover from his injuries. To be able to nurture a little demon empress who was on the genius ranking, it was enough to see how terrifying the Purple Cloud King Valley was. Lin Chen did not doubt his safety at all. After Lin Chen swallowed a few long Kingwo, he seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Oh right, seniors, this junior has something to ask." The green-robed elder nodded and smiled. "You're welcome. Please speak. What's with the Sage Realm? Why is there such a huge difference between a fourth heaven true saint and a true saint?" The two old men looked at each other, and the green-robed old man said with a smile, "In order for a war emperor to become a saint, he needs to focus his entire life's effort to open his saint acupoints. It can also be a mental tempering or mental tempering. The more difficult and desperate the tempering, the more it can stimulate one's potential and increase the chances of breaking through to the saint realm. After opening 1 saint acupoint, one will become a saint. After opening 10 saint acupoints, one will become a saint tier 1 complete saint. After opening 11 saint acupoints, one will become a saint tier 2 complete saint. At the saint tier 2 complete saint acupoints, the amount of saint chi that a saint tier 2 complete saint acupoint can hold is double that of a saint tier 1 complete saint. Every saint point of the 3rd layer is more than double the saint point of the 2nd layer. Therefore, it is extremely difficult to challenge someone of a higher level in the saint realm. The elder nodded solemnly. The difficulty of opening the 31st saint point is no less than the battle emperor becoming a saint. The 31st to the 40th saint point of the 4th heaven true saint realm is known as the expanded point saint realm. In this realm, one needs to expand the space of the subsequent saint points to accommodate more holy chi. The green-robed old man chuckled. Take this old man as an example. My 31st saint acupoint is 4 times the size of a saint acupoint. That means that my 31st saint acupoint can contain 4 times the amount of saint chi when I was in the 3rd heaven true saint realm. In the expanded point saint realm, the first saint point expansion is extremely important because the 32nd to 40th saint points won't exceed the first saint point expansion. At most, it will be equal. Ordinary saints in the expanded point saint realm can expand their saint points by 3 to 5 times. Top geniuses can expand their saint points by 6 times. In this world, there will always be people who exceed common sense. They can break through the shackles of life and expand their saint points multiple times bigger than the first saint point expansion. These geniuses are either in the top 100 of the genius ranking or in the monstrous genius ranking. Lin Chun was enlightened. Every saint point of the second heaven true saint realm contained twice the amount of holy chi compared to the first heaven true saint realm. Saint points of the third heaven true saint realm were more than twice the amount of saint points of the second heaven true saint realm. As for the fourth heaven true saint realm, the amount of saint points they could store depended on their strength. If I enter the expanded point saint realm and open 31st to 40th saint points, the total would be 60 times bigger. F*CK. The peak of the fourth heaven true saint realm and the peak of the third heaven true saint realm are not on the same level. Lin Chun smacked his lips inwardly. No wonder the appearance of a fourth heaven true saint realm expert on Kirin Cloud Island was able to strike fear into the hearts of several hundred true saints. Lin Chun then asked about the saint realm. The two old seniors' attitude towards him was more polite, and he benefited greatly from it. The two old men told him that the saint realm cultivators controlled 100 million dragon energy, which was equivalent to a first heaven true saint realm expert opening one saint point. At the second heaven true saint realm, 200 million dragon energy was equivalent to one saint point. When Lin Chun activated the God Slayer skill, he had 3 billion dragon energy, which was why he was at the peak of the second heaven true saint realm. At the third heaven true saint realm, 500 million dragon energy was equivalent to one saint point. For example, if Lin Chun wanted to rely on pure strength to fight against a third heaven true saint realm expert, he would need to control 8 billion dragon energy. Little guy, your foundation is very good, but this old man advises you to focus on cultivating battle chi, and opening saint points is the right path. Firstly, it is extremely difficult to break through to the next realm. Every time the body refinement reaches a new height, there will be fewer and fewer ways to refine the body. Secondly, even if you can control the pure strength of a saint at the same level, it will still be very difficult for you to defeat your opponent. That's because the human race is different from the beast race. The beast race can awaken their bloodline ability and convert their pure strength into killing moves. As for the human race, they can obtain holy chi from opening their saint points, and they can cultivate many cultivation techniques and battle techniques. However, there are very few body refinement battle techniques in the human race, and they lack flexibility in battle. The only advantage is that they can last for a long time. However, no matter how strong you are in a battle of attrition, you will be exhausted to death if you can't hit your opponent. The blue-clothed old man tried to persuade him. Lin Chun nodded and smiled. Thank you for senior's advice. This junior understands. We humans are still humans, and we don't have the innate advantages of vicious beasts. Body refinement is only icing on the cake. Opening saint points to obtain holy chi is the way to go. Lin Chun could understand the old man's advice, but that was only applicable to ordinary people. He had the attribute collection system. As long as he had the blood vitality attribute, there was no shortage of body refinement paths. Not to mention, he also had the Dragon Emperor with many bloodlines. Body refinement was extremely important to him. Cultivating saint points and body refinement, Lin Chun wouldn't leave a single one behind. He wanted them all. It's good that you understand. The Sacred Burial Mountain Range is about to open, and the two of us have a lot of things to deal with. The blue-clothed old man rubbed his temples. Before he finished speaking, Lin Chun excitedly stood up. His wounds hurt so much that he gasped for air. He asked, "Senior, are you talking about the Sacred Burial Mountain Range?" "Oh, don't you know? The Sacred Burial Mountain Range is a damned place, and the miasma is about to dissipate. In about half a month, the miasma will dissipate for a period of time. In the past, too many saints fell in the Holy War. Many saints don't dare to enter anymore. This time, I'm afraid those old fellows will send out a large number of monster-level geniuses to explore." Chapter 1062. Elder Qing's words made Lin Chen fall into deep thought. Miss Xiaomeng told me that her mother's previous master was the Sky Prime Battle Saint, who was good at swordsmanship. He died in the depths of the sacred burial mountain range. Before he left, he gave me a fragment of the sacred helmet, which was engraved with his saint aura. As long as I am within a certain range, I will be able to sense his location. According to Xiaomeng's mother's last words, the Sky Prime Battle Saint was comprehending the remnant of the Tai Futian scripture, but he had not completely studied it. This time, it is related to the Tai Futian scripture. Even if I have to go through the 18 layers of hell, I will still go. Seeing the strong fighting spirit in Lin Chen's eyes, the old man smiled and said, "Looking at you, I think you will also join in. With your strength, you will not return empty-handed. It's getting late. You should take the time to recuperate. When you walk around the Purple Cloud King Valley, use this green jade token. Keep the king token that Miss Xiaomeng gave you well. Don't take it out easily. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of trouble." The old man threw a green token to Lin Chen. Lin Chen solemnly cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for your care, senior." After the two old men left, Lin Chen recovered from his injuries. He was pleasantly surprised to find that after the previous accumulation and the fierce battle with the Saint Realm experts, his spiritual energy had broken through to the half-step Saint Realm. Half-step Saint Realm. Ordinary alchemists would have to reach this realm before they were qualified to try to refine a Saint Pill. Of course, the success rate was still low. However, Lin Chen, who had the plus 15 Genesis Holy Scripture, was an exception. Lin Chen ordered his doppelganger to enter the state of cultivation and open the system. Heavenly Path Possession System version 6.0. Host. Lin Chen. Cultivation. For Tribulation Battle Emperor, peak of the 4th Tribulation. High-grade essence. 5. 59 million points limit strength. 99. 99 million dragon power. High-grade blood essence. 6. 88 million points high-grade spirit attribute. 6,046 points. Half-step Saint Realm. High-grade cultivation technique essence. 13,011 points. High-grade rune energy. 9,641 points. Mid-grade heavenly path. 14,557 points. Mid-grade talent points. 13,602 points. Blank attributes. 3. 44 million points. Strengthening points. 21. 68 million points. Advanced elemental energy. Fire 5,914 points. Earth 5,311 points. Wood 5,500 points. Metal 5,566 points. Water 5,988 points. Thunder 5,119 points. Wind 5,969 points. Light 4,155 points. Dark 4,991 points. Cultivation method status column. Open. Bloodline status column. Open. Passive talent column. Open/not. Ultimate skill column. Open/not. Active talent column. Open. Characteristic rune column. Open. Talent combination skill. Open or not. Over 20 million strengthening points. It could be said to be a huge sum. All of Lin Chen's non-growth attribute values were abnormally high. Even though the Godslayer state would reduce the drop rate of non-growth type light orbs, Lin Chen's attribute points still dropped at a frightening rate after slaughtering 14 saints. This enhancement point is enough for me to raise my combat power by another level. Lin Chen was excited. Next, Lin Chen spent 7 million strengthening points in one go. Vanishing Shadow, Flying Dagger plus 15. Imperial Sky plus 15. Sword Fury raises the sky plus 15. Genesis Holy Scripture plus 15. Moon Mirror plus 15. Annihilation plus 15. 7 Ultimate Strength plus 15. Lin Chen had strengthened all his main cultivation methods to plus 15. As for God's Tears, Lin Chen had not mastered it yet, so he could not strengthen it. He could only strengthen the cultivation methods that the host had mastered. In addition, although Lin Chen had mastered God's Tears, he had to borrow the opportunity of the Godslayer talent to learn it. If Lin Chun used God's tears with his current cultivation, it would not be his saber chi that would be destroyed, but his meridians. He would have to reach the fifth tribulation to barely use God's tears. Therefore, the half-orange gray cultivation method was still Lin Chen's main combat power at this stage. The sacred burial mountain range was of utmost importance. Lin Chen could not afford any mishaps. My spirit power has a feeling of being as deep as the sea. It's more than one level stronger than before. The plus 15 Genesis Holy Scripture and the half-step Saint Spirit power have brought me a transformation. My alchemy skills have improved by more than 3 or 4 times. Lin Chun was surprised by the change in his spirit power. The Genesis Holy Scripture allowed him to control the spirit power of a saint-grade alchemist in advance. The plus 15 Genesis Holy Scripture was even more powerful. Not to mention that Lin Chen's spirit power had broken through. Lin Chun was almost certain that as long as his spirit power reached divine transcendence, his spirit control would reach an extremely terrifying level. His alchemy skills would improve by leaps and bounds. 218 advanced cultivation methods soul essences consumed. Integrating the half-orange grade alchemy handprint, True Dragon Divine Hand, True Dragon Divine Hand, using the combination of dragon force, battle force, and spiritual energy to refine pills. Using strength to control the materials, chi to flow through the 9 heavens, and spiritual energy to reverse. If the user has the bloodline of a true dragon and sufficient spiritual energy, the power of this pill refining handprint will be comparable to an orange handprint. Lin Chen was shocked when he integrated the True Dragon Divine Hand's cultivation memories. This alchemy handprint could use pure power to assist alchemy. It could also use the True Dragon bloodline to refine pills. However, Lin Chen's Winged Dragon and Azure Dragon bloodline could only be considered as a side branch of the True Dragon bloodline. It's already very difficult to cultivate a top-tier purple-grade handprint. This half-orange grade alchemy handprint has 100,000 combinations of handprints. Every one of them is very mysterious and has a high auxiliary effect when refining a saint-grade pill. It's indeed something that even saints would fight over. Lin Chun and his clone healed their injuries and integrated the alchemy handprint cultivation memories. A group of people stood in the main hall of the Azure Valley. The 2 men in white leading the group had cold expressions. I heard that a special guest came to our King Valley. He has the lady's royal token, and he's a man? The lady was born to be a supreme being. How could she give the royal token to a man? I don't believe it either. I think it's very likely that this guy cheated her. A man with red eyebrows slammed the table angrily. The hall shook, and he stood up angrily. Damn it! How can this person have a lady's royal token? I'll go and meet him. The young man in white, sitting at the head of the table, had a dignified appearance. He said indifferently, That's enough. You're already panicking. With Elder Qing and Elder Qian here, do you dare touch him? Everyone looked fearful. He can't keep hiding like a turtle. Let's wait and find an opportunity. I'll let him know that the lady is not someone he can get close to. The young man in white had a murderous look on his face. Recovery, cultivation, learning. Lin Chen spent 4 days in the Purple Cloud King Valley. On the 8th day, Lin Chun came out of seclusion. Purple Cloud King Valley, Purple Border Valley. Lin Chen strolled on the streets. There were many merchants and merchant groups doing business here. The Purple Cloud King Valley's disciples were here to purchase resources. Although the Purple Cloud King Valley was big, cultivation was always a waste of resources. Thus, they would periodically allow merchants to do business here. At this time, the young disciples on the streets were dumbfounded when they saw a young man in front of shop. That young man actually bid 4 million Saint Origin coins right off the bat. The skinny man nodded and smiled. Young master is really generous. 4 million to buy all of our merchant groups, Tiani Holy Water. The gentle girl in white smiled and said, How is it, big brother Lin Chun? I told you that this place has the most treasures in the Purple Cloud King Valley. I didn't lie to you, right? Lin Chun nodded and smiled. And it's really not bad. The girl in white beside Lin Chun was called Li Shui. She was a blue-rank disciple of the Purple Cloud King Valley. When Elder Qian said that he wanted to find a disciple to lead Lin Shun, she immediately accepted the task. The Purple Cloud King Valley wasn't comparable to the outside world. There were many forbidden grounds that outsiders were forbidden from entering. Those who violated the rules would be executed immediately. In order to prevent Lin Shun from entering the forbidden grounds, they needed someone from the same family to lead the way. Seeing that Lin Shun was satisfied, Li Shui's delicate face was dyed red. She smiled and chatted with Lin Shun. Her beautiful eyes were filled with curiosity and admiration. Since ancient times, heroes loved beauties and beauties loved heroes. Li Shui came from the Purple Cloud King Valley and had high standards. However, she had never heard of anyone who dared to kill a man on the genius list. He even took the young Mrs. Token. She was extremely curious about Lin Shun. I will use 30% of the market price to buy all the odd crystal fragments in your merchant group. Then Lin Shun said something shocking to the skinny monkey-like man. 30% of the market price? The merchant was stunned and thought that he heard wrongly. Good. Please wait a moment, young master. He was ecstatic, and his attitude was as though he was about to kneel down to Lin Shun. Just as he was about to turn around and prepare for Lin Shun. I will pay 50% of the market price. I will take all the odd crystal fragments. A disdainful and arrogant voice suddenly interrupted all the astonishment. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. Someone wants to cause trouble? Chapter 1063. Lin Shun bought all the odd crystal fragments so that he could create as many killing techniques as possible before entering the Sacred Burial Mountain range. Someone had overbid him and wanted to buy all the odd crystal fragments of the merchant group. Normally speaking, even a saint wouldn't be able to refine so many odd crystal fragments. It was obvious that the other party was here to cause trouble. Lin Shun touched his chin and raised his eyebrows. This person doesn't come with good intentions, but this is the little demon empress territory. As long as the other party doesn't go overboard, I will tolerate it. The person who came was dressed in white and had an imposing appearance. He had the aura of an elegant young master, and there were 4 young geniuses behind him. Each of them was a 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. Li Shui whispered to Lin Shun, "It's young Master Ziyu, Prince Lin Shun. Be careful, he might be here to target you. He is ranked 10,001st on the genius list." Lin Shun smiled but didn't say anything. He had a cynical look on his face. Young Master Ziyu came before Lin Shun. His eyebrows were like swords and his eyes were like stars. A sharp light flashed through his eyes as he coldly questioned, "You're Lin Shun from the Black Horse Club?" Lin Shun smiled. "I'll have to trouble young master to remember my name." The 4 young geniuses behind young Master Ziyu glared angrily and looked like they were about to rush up and fight Lin Shun. Ziyu's lips curled into a disdainful smile. "Cut the crap. If you want the odd crystal fragments, I won't give it to you. I am a rank 8 alchemist. Do you think you have the financial resources to compete with a rank 8 alchemist?" Ziyu's words made many people's faces change. They were shocked and shocked. "Young Master Z, you actually broke through to a rank 8 alchemist. Oh my god. I've heard that young Master Ziyu's mental strength was half a step into the Saint realm 10 years ago. I didn't expect him to become a rank 8 alchemist so quickly. This is probably the youngest 8th level alchemist in the history of Purple Cloud King Valley." Ziyu's face became even more arrogant when he heard the exclamations around him. "Lin Shun, don't say that I didn't give you face. Hand over young Mrs. Order, and I won't make things difficult for you. I'll even give you 20 odd crystal fragments. Otherwise, not only will you not be able to purchase anything in the Violet Realm Valley, you might even encounter some misfortune after leaving the Violet Cloud King Valley." This young Master Ziyu had an overbearing appearance as soon as he arrived, using an almost charitable tone to inform Lin Shun. "You want to exchange 20 odd crystal fragments for the Little Demon Empress unique purple cloud token?" Was this young man living in a dream? The atmosphere was tense. Lin Shun shook his head and laughed. "This young master, I have no enmity with you, so you don't have to make things difficult for me. I respect you as a disciple of the Purple Cloud King Valley and will give you some face. I just want to buy something here and leave. I'm already being polite enough. Outside, anyone who dares to act like this in front of me will be crippled at the very least and die without a complete corpse. Lin Chun was neither servile nor overbearing. He flicked his fingernails and laughed. Is a rank 8 alchemist very impressive? My Black Horse Club has a rank 8 alchemist on average, and you have the cheek to show off your skills? Many disciples' faces changed as soon as he said that. Rank 8 alchemist on average? You're bragging like this, but you're not even famous at all. The sacred boundary was extremely vast, and the fastest news to spread was Lin Chen's achievement of massacring the genius list. It would take some time for the four-way conference's performance to spread to even further places in the sacred boundary. To these disciples who had been cultivating in the King Valley and Mystic Realms all year round, they didn't know much about the Black Horse Club. Young Master Ziyu's handsome face was filled with anger. The four geniuses behind him immediately stood up and berated him. Dog, show some respect to young Master Ziyu. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes and said softly, Scram. Rumble. This shout of scram carried a terrifying amount of spiritual energy that penetrated through that genius's battle chi defense, causing his spiritual energy to shake violently. His eardrums burst and blood flowed out of his ears. He rolled on the ground and screamed in agony. The three geniuses were shocked and angry, but fighting was prohibited here, and they didn't dare to use their battle chi. If they used spiritual power, that would be Lin Chen's forte. Young Master Ziyu was shocked. He also has half-step saint spiritual power? Lin Chen couldn't be bothered with those noisy fellows and said to the skinny man, I'll pay 70% of the market price to buy all the odd crystal fragments from your Chamber of Commerce and the nearby merchant groups. Hurry up, I'm in a hurry. The skinny man suppressed his ecstasy and bowed respectfully. Yes, I'll go prepare immediately. Suddenly, Ziyu said, then I'll pay 80% of the market price. Lin Chen frowned. Damn, this bastard just won't go away. Although he had a lot of Silver Saint Origin coins, it didn't mean that he could squander them as he wished. He still had to buy other resources. Ziyu stared at Lin Chen and said word by word, Hee, you don't want me to lower your price. Do you dare to compete with me? Lin Chen clenched his fists and suddenly smiled. How do we compete? Seeing Lin Chen's harmless smile, Ziyu was on his guard. This bastard was able to massacre the genius list on Rainbow Island. Although it might be due to luck, he must have some trump cards. Although I'm ranked 10001, I might not be able to take him down. Ziyu thought for a moment and sneered. Let's compete in alchemy. How about it? Didn't you say that everyone in the Black Horse Club is a rank 8 alchemist? Do you dare to bet? Lin Chen was a little impatient. I don't have that much time to refine a rank 8 sacred pill with you. Compete in alchemy? Lin Chen wasn't afraid, but he didn't have the time now. There were only 7 or 8 days left before the miasma in the sacred Burial Mountain range completely dissipated. Even if he could use all his clones to refine a rank 8 sacred pill, it would consume a lot of energy and mind, and it would be difficult to maintain his peak state. Of course, it won't be a competition in refining a rank 8 sacred pill. An alchemist's standard can be seen from their alchemy skills. If we compete in alchemy skills, we will use a top rank 7 pill as the standard. No pill furnace is allowed, and only one hand can be used. Within 3 hours, whoever refines a top rank 7 pill first will be the winner. If both sides succeed, we will use the grade of the pill to determine who wins. How about it? If you lose, young Miss Token will belong to me. If I lose, I will pay for all the odd crystal fragments for you. Ziyu's words stirred up 1,000 waves. Oh my god, within 4 hours? It's fine if you can't use a pill furnace, but you can only use one hand? This is too ridiculous. Forming a seal with one hand to refine the pill will consume mental power and increase the difficulty by several times. The combination of the two will increase the difficulty in a straight line. At least with my alchemy skills, I don't even dare to think about it. All the geniuses were astounded, and they instantly felt that this competition was extremely absurd. Li Shui was anxious as if she knew something and wanted to stop Lin Chun. Okay, it's settled then. You quickly go and prepare the odd crystal fragments. Lin Chun smiled playfully. Ziyu revealed a confident smile, as if he had everything under control, and laughed proudly in his heart. Idiot, haha! This young master's new alchemy hand seal is to form a seal with one hand, and then combine the seals to refine the pill. Kid, you're going to lose. Chapter 1064. Purple Realm Valley, Bluestone Arena. Outside the Bluestone Arena, there was a sea of people. Today was the day of a special duel. Chun Ziyu versus Lin Chun. On one side was the top prodigy of Purple Cloud King Valley, ranked 10,000 and first on the genius ranking, the youngest 8th-tier alchemist. On the other side was the vice director of the Black Horse Club, Lin Chun, who had recently been in the limelight and had massacred the genius ranking. The content of their duel was actually refining pills with one hand without a pill furnace. This kind of duel was unprecedented. Any alchemist would know the difficulty of this duel. Using the alchemy hand seals with both hands could deal with any situation while refining pills. But refining pills with one hand was as difficult as asking a normal person to walk with one leg. One leg was already the limit, and to walk like a normal person, the difficulty was not as simple as 2 minus 1, not to mention not using a pill furnace. That's Lin Chun? Huh, he's much younger than I thought. I reckon that only the people from the inner valley can suppress this Lin Chun. According to the rumors, this Lin Chun is in possession of the young Miss Purple Cloud Royal Token. What? How could Miss Royal Token be given to him? Miss said that only men she approved of would be given the Purple Cloud Royal Token. Word spread like wildfire, and the news that Lin Chun had the little Demon Empress Purple Cloud Royal Token immediately spread to everyone's ears. Then, gazes filled with jealousy and killing intent were directed at Lin Chun. Over 10,000 Purple Cloud King Valley prodigies wanted to denounce Lin Chun. Lin Chun crossed his arms and whistled. What are you doing, staring at me like a bull's egg? You don't have to be so obvious, even if you're jealous of my good looks, right? Damn, he's too damn arrogant. Damn, it's a pity that the inner valley prodigies aren't here, or else he wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Elder Cousin Ziyu, torture him to death. Everyone shouted with red faces and thick necks. Those who didn't know would think that it was a martial duel. In the air, 3 saints stood side by side. A man in red robes laughed. This duel is a little interesting. The 2 sack-clothed old men laughed one after another. This brat is probably a tier 8 alchemist too. However, it should be Ziyu who is a notch better. Ziyu has set a trap for him. Even I may not be Ziyu's match in this duel. His alchemy hand seals have a natural advantage. The crimson-robed man looked deeply at Lin Chun, who had a frivolous expression on his face, and he chuckled. Is that so? In fact, I'm more optimistic about this brat. There are only a handful of 4th Heaven true saints in the inner valley who can provoke such a lineup. Bluestone Arena. Prince Lin Chun, you were too rash. I've heard that young Master Ziyu seems to have inherited his family's lightning saint recovery seal. This alchemy seal is half orange level, and it's famous for its speed and the ability to combine 2 seals with one hand. Prince Lin Chun, you're playing right into his hands. Li Shui worriedly transmitted her voice to Lin Chun outside the arena, who knew that Lin Chun would wink at her flirtatiously, causing Li Shui's heart to beat faster. Lin Chun replied with a smile, Don't worry. Since he provoked me, I'll trample on his pride. Chun Ziyu, who was standing 100 zhang away from Lin Chun, said with contempt, Sir Lin Chun, are you ready? Lin Chun didn't say a word. Instead, he made a peace sign at Chun Ziyu with a smug expression. Oomph. Chun Ziyu shot out a stream of battle chi, hitting the hourglass beside the arena. The countdown began. Whoosh. With a wave of his hand, he opened his storage ring, and hundreds of herbs floated in the air. Lightning hand flash. Spiritual force surged from Chun Ziyu's fingers, and lightning snaked around them. In a flash, he grabbed over 100 herbs and a tier 7 beast core. Everyone couldn't help but hold their breaths as they watched. Alchemy duels were common in the Purple Cloud Valley, where geniuses gathered. However, this was the first time a duel without using an alchemy furnace was happening. Chen Ziyu's fingers formed a seal, and afterimages appeared. Under the control of his spiritual force, the lightning snaked around the herbs, accurately picking out and removing the outer skin of the herbs. Then, the lightning condensed and began to remove the impurities of the herbs, crushing some of the herbs and squeezing out the essence of the energy. The whole process was so smooth that it was dazzling. Outside the arena, there was a series of gasps and exclamations. "Oh my God, am I seeing this right? This is a real seal made with one hand. Cousin Ziyu is really the #1 alchemist in the King Valley. Amazing. Without an alchemy furnace, stabilizing the herbs is even more difficult. Not to mention the amount of spiritual force required to form a seal with one hand. When the two are combined, the difficulty is directly increased, and he can still perform the alchemy steps so steadily." The proud and arrogant disciples of the King's Valley were also subdued by this mysterious method. Just based on this, it was definitely something that only an 8th rank alchemist could do. And even an 8th rank alchemist might not be able to do it as well as Chun Ziyu. On the other hand, Lin Chen didn't move at all. With a smile on his face, he even commented on Chun Ziyu. His hand speed is very fast. There are calluses and protrusions, and there is also lightning between the friction. It can be said that it has a natural paralyzing effect. If it was introduced to other clubs, it could barely be considered a second-rate alchemist. Lin Chen's tone made the geniuses outside the arena angry, and they couldn't help but curse. Mother of Asterisker, who do you think you were to criticize Cousin Ziyu? Lin Shun, if you don't have the ability, don't stand there. Quickly get down and kowtow to Brother Ziyu to apologize. Chen Ziyu ignored Lin Shun and only looked at him with disdain. Whether or not Lin Shun was an 8th rank alchemist, he couldn't win against him under these conditions. Ignoring the clamor of the crowd, Lin Shun waved his hand and the herbs appeared. Finally, he was going to start refining. He didn't lack 7th rank herbs. The 3 spirit plants of Providence at their peak would produce a large amount of 7th rank herbs and silver Saint Origin coins every day. Lin Shun would use most of the 7th rank herbs to refine 7th rank pills to feed Little Shadow. He would never complain about having too many pills. Little Shadow was a perfect life form, but its only flaw was that it was always a glutton. It consumed a lot of energy and liked things with high energy like pills and silver Saint Origin coins. As the herbs floated in the air, Lin Shun had a cynical smile on his face. He actually flirtatiously made a peace sign and chuckled. "My hand speed is very fast. As the most handsome alchemist of the Black Horse Club and the most handsome person in the Sacred Boundary, I, Lin Shun, have skills that can make fairies descend to the mortal world and peach juices explode." After that, Lin Shun even made a peace sign and smiled. "I live next door. My surname is Lin. If you have any problems, I'll climb over your wall. If you have any problems, you can look for old Lin. I've been focusing on my skills for 30 years. I feel good about it." As soon as he finished speaking, the spiritual light of the blue flowing water condensed on Lin Chen's fingertips. With a light stroke of his 2 fingers, it was as if a blue wave of water swept across the void, and the faint roar of a dragon reverberated. Whoosh! The spiritual herbs quickly gathered and started to refine hundreds of 7th rank herbs. The shells were peeled off, and the impurities were removed. At this moment, the whole place was greeted with a strange silence. In the green stone arena, Lin Chen's palms kept turning, and his 2 fingers moved quickly. Other than spiritual power and battle aura, there was also a bit of pure strength hidden in the seals. Whoosh! Pure strength crushed more than a dozen herbs, and the strength was just right. His spiritual power extracted the essence, purified, and refined more herbs smoothly without any mistakes or flaws. The geniuses who were clamoring for Lin Chun to get off the stage looked as if they had seen a ghost. Many people's mouths trembled, and the back of their heads felt as if it had exploded. Two fingers? I am really not drunk, right? Oh my God, he's refining herbs with only 2 fingers? This is F asterisk king ridiculous. Chun Ziyu refining herbs with 1 hand is amazing. This F asterisk king Black Horse Club's Lin Chun refining herbs with only 2 fingers. That's ridiculous. Sensing Chun Ziyu's astonished gaze, Lin Chun, who was on the greenstone arena, gave Chun Ziyu an incomparably coquettish smile. Can you be more flirtatious than I, Lin Chun? A girl blushed and stared at Lin Chun as if she was dreaming. His fingers are so nimble and fast. Sob, sob, sob. Chapter 1065. When the 2 elders in the sky saw the scene on stage, it was as if they were struck by lightning. They were dumbstruck, dumbfounded. Everyone was dumbfounded. When they saw Chun Ziyu refining pills with 1 hand, they were simply amazed. Some of the girls who adored him even screamed out loud. However, the moment Lin Chun made his move, only then did they know where the word outrageous came from. This Lin Chun was 2F asterisk king ridiculous. Using 2 fingers to refine a 7th grade medicinal pill, and he didn't even use a pill furnace. How'd he do it? Outside the arena, Li Shui covered her red lips with her hand. She couldn't hide the shock in her eyes. Seeing him use 2 fingers to form the alchemy hand seals, refining pills as smoothly as flowing water, all of the alchemist geniuses present went crazy. It's fake. It must be fake. I'm seeing things. Tell me I'm hallucinating. How can we refine pills? F asterisk CK. They had painstakingly practiced alchemy for so many years and finally became 7th level alchemists. In the end, they couldn't even compare to 2 of his fingers. Even Chun Ziyu, who was highly concentrated, was frightened by this scene. His throat made a strange goo-goo-goo sound like an owl. He over-refined more than 10 types of ingredients and directly wasted them. Chun Ziyu hurriedly stabilized the 100 types of ingredients that he had refined. He was sweating profusely as he shouted in his heart. It's not over yet. This competition is beneficial to me. Everything will be decided by the final result. As long as the quality of my pills is better than his, it's fine. We're both 8th level alchemists. He can't win against me with just 2 fingers. Calm down, I must calm down. The 2 of them continued to refine the other ingredients. But now everyone had shut up. Everyone could see that Lin Chun had the qualifications to compete with Chun Ziyu. He might even surpass the former by a large margin. But the question was, how did Lin Chun do it? Lin Chun whistled at Chun Ziyu and joked, "Do you know what the highest level of alchemy is?" Chun Ziyu's face was livid. "Stop bragging. Don't make it sound like you've already won. The final deciding factor is the quality of the pill. What can you do with those 2 fingers of yours?" Lin Chun laughed heartily. "Ha ha ha. You'll understand in the future. I'll prove to all alchemists that something like alchemy can be done in my Black Horse Club." The 2 hemp-clothed old men on the void spectator stand lost their composure and cried out in shock. His control of spiritual energy is very strange. Even I can't do it as flexibly as him. It's too strange. This kid must have a top-grade spirit-type secret manual on him. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve such a miraculous feat. Look at his alchemy hand seals. They're not ordinary either. To actually be able to control pure physical strength and mental strength to concoct medicine together, this is simply unimaginable. This kid is simply monstrous to the point of defying the heavens. The man with red eyebrows stroked his chin and clicked his tongue in wonder. No wonder you're the young man favored by the young lady. You're really heaven-defying. The Black Horse Club. Interesting, very interesting. Ha ha. I'm afraid those little guys in the inner valley will make a scene when they come back. Under Lin Chen's miraculous 2-finger alchemy, a few hours passed in the blink of an eye. 10 breaths before the golden sand in the hourglass ran out. Both of them had finished concocting the pill at the same time. A top-grade 7th grade pill, the Wind Shadow Separation Pill. Chun Ziyu was sweating profusely as he raised the pill in his hand. However, in the next moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the light blue pill between Lin Chen's two fingers. Lin Chun flicked his finger at Chun Ziyu and shot the pill in front of him. He said with a faint smile, a top-grade 7th grade pill, the Snow Marrow Mind Cleansing Pill. It can purify one's battle chi and strengthen one's foundation. It also has the effect of purifying one's battle chi and has a 20% chance of breaking through the bottleneck of the 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. If you're not convinced, take a look at it yourself. The corners of the alchemist's mouths twitched again. What? A top-grade 7th grade pill. So the pill he's concocting is not only a top-grade 7th grade pill, but also a top-grade 7th grade pill. And he's using 2 fingers? Chun Ziyu clenched his fists and trembled in fear. His eyes were bloodshot as he stared at the pill in front of him, and the corners of his mouth twitched. No, impossible, Lin Chen shrugged and said indifferently. So many people here have seen me concoct it, and there are also 2 8th grade alchemists in the void. How could it be fake? You there, prepare the odd crystal fragments. Just put it on young Master Chen's tab. Lin Chun waved his hand at the skinny man, and the latter respectfully handed a storage ring to Lin Chun. Lin Chun took the storage ring and sucked the pill back into his palm. He waved his hand without looking back, and his cynical laughter echoed in the field. I've said before, is an 8th grade alchemist that awesome? In my Black Horse Club, this is the most basic standard that everyone knows. Remember this, and don't be so cocky next time. Chun Ziyu was in a daze and couldn't accept reality at all. His face was as pale as paper. He could accept his loss, but he couldn't accept that he had lost so miserably. Many of the veteran alchemists outside the field were shocked and couldn't calm down for a long time. Lin Chun from the Black Horse Club had refreshed everyone's understanding of alchemy. An alchemist who could concoct a top-grade 7th grade pill could do well in the Sacred Boundary and obtain a high status in the 3rd grade and 4th grade sections. There were many strong people in the Sacred Boundary, and cultivation relied on the accumulation of resources. Alchemists were highly sought after everywhere. However, the realm that they spent their entire lives to reach was actually achieved by a youth with 2 fingers. Many geniuses stared at Lin Chen's back view as he left the Greenstone Arena, and their eyes were dazed and amazed. Rumor has it that the Black Horse Club style of doing things is unique. Today, my eyes have been opened. This is too ridiculous. He used 2 fingers to defeat the youngest 8th grade alchemist in our Purple Cloud King Valley. This is too heaven-defying. This is the leader of the Black Horse Club who led a bloodbath on the genius rankings. None of the proud geniuses of the King Valley were convinced. This youth was terrifyingly strong, ridiculously strong. After looking around the Purple Cloud King Valley, Lin Chun sold a Saint Artifact forging scroll and an 8th grade pill recipe to buy 23 top-grade purple-grade techniques. He needed more techniques to fuse with the 2nd orange-gray battle technique. At the same time, Lin Chun also used 150 Long King Wo, 100 bottles of clear Jade Dew, and 60 million Saint Origin coins to buy a large number of 8th grade treasures. Prince Lin Chun, you're really too strong. Li Shuai was like a chirping little bird as she circled around Lin Chun. Her beautiful eyes were twinkling like little stars as she stared at him, with eyes full of worship. Didn't you see those unruly fellows just now? They were all intimidated by young Master. In the Violet Cloud King Valley, only the big shots in the Inner Valley can do that. Lin Chun said seriously, it's not that strong. Actually, I've already done my best. He had indeed done his best. Lin Chun had used the half-orange grade alchemy technique, True Dragon Divine Hand. This time, Lin Chun was able to refine pills with just 2 fingers because of the plus 15 Taisher Holy Scripture, which allowed him to control his mental energy to reach perfection. Together with the True Dragon Divine Hands, which used pure strength to refine pills, he was able to achieve this. The limit of refining pills with 2 fingers was that he could only refine 7th grade pills. In order to refine 8th grade pills, Lin Chun had to use all his strength. If he wanted to refine a divine pill, he would have to use a furnace. I wonder if I'll be able to achieve the highest realm of acting cool in refining pills when I step into the divine realm. It's worth looking forward to. Consumed 788 intermediate heavens path points to decompose 188 types of grade, 8 treasures of heaven and earth. Obtained 54 wood energy, 39 metal energy, 29 light energy, 22 darkness energy, 47 fire energy. Lin Shun chose the simplest and most brutal way to increase his strength, which was to decompose a large number of 8th grade herbs. Even though it was a waste of resources, it was related to the Tai Ifu Tian technique, so he had to give it his all. Consumed 466 intermediate heaven path points, decomposed 79 odd crystal fragments, obtained attribute points, 22 water energy, 31 earth energy, 36 fire energy, obtained special attribute points, only 79 odd crystal fragments. Seems like not all business groups are willing to sell them to me. It's impossible for them to sell all their odd crystal fragments to me. Their main customers are the disciples of Purple Cloud King Valley. If they sell all of them to me, they will lose future customers. However, there's no time. I have to go to the Sacred Burial Mountain Range soon. In the end, Lin Shun created 14 intermediate blue rank sure kill skills and 9 advanced blue rank sure kill skills. Prince Lin Shun, are you leaving so soon? Outside the Purple Valley, Li Shui was reluctant to leave. Time waits for no one. This is for you. Lin Shun smiled at her and flicked his finger. 2 jade bottles fell into Li Shui's arms. One bottle contained the dazzling Long Qingguo, and the other bottle contained the Snow Essence Mind Cleansing Pill. The woman was stunned. When she looked back, the young man had already disappeared outside the Purple Valley. Chapter 1066. During the time that Lin Shun was in the Purple Cloud King Valley, news of him began to spread throughout the 36 regions. Waves after waves of shock were stirred up among the various forces, and they continued to spread without stopping. Xuanyu, Green Cloud City. All the attendants in the city began to sell jade slips made of vine scrolls. This was something that belonged to the Cloud Vine sect of the Saint World. The sect nurtured a large number of cloud vines, and they were skilled in collecting information from various sources. They were one of the greatest information dealers in the Saints world, and the Cloud Vine sect will be the first to grasp important information and spread it. Breaking news. The Black Horse Club's Lin Shun killed 14 true saints and entered the Purple Cloud King Valley alone to avoid the pursuit of the 4th Heaven True Saints. There are rumors that someone in the Black Horse Club is the illegitimate son of the Purple Cloud King Valley's Valley Master. According to a certain true saint expert's guess, the Black Horse Club's disciple is most likely from a rank 6 aristocratic family. It's no small matter that he went out to train. News about Lin Shun spread like wildfire, and even with the help of the Cloud Vine Sect Information Network, it would take some time for it to spread. The sacred boundary was vast, and even with the Cloud Vine Sect Information Network, it would take some time for it to spread. Mystic Realm, Ice Heart Palace. When the members of Class 66 received news about Lin Shun, they finally heaved a sigh of relief. I knew that Big Brother would be fine. Even the 9 prefectures' false gods couldn't stop him. Bai Juanhao grinned. Fortunately, the little fellow is fine. Palace Master, we've troubled you for the past few days. The White Dragon Gate's leader cupped his fists towards the Ice Heart Palace Master. The Ice Heart Palace Master smiled and said, "It's fine. We're all on the same side. Now that Lin Shun has destroyed more than half of the secret pavilion, it's a good thing for all of us. We'll have to keep in touch in the future." To think that this little fellow is actually related to the southern region's Violet Cloud King Valley. TSK, TSK, TSK. Seems like there's no need for us to worry about this matter. Those people from the Violet Cloud King Valley usually don't make a move, but once they do, they are extremely protective of their own. That Lin Shun brat should be safe now. The 2 old men beside Yin Xinyan looked at each other and smiled. Lung Yueqi, Shengwan Bihan, and the other girls sitting opposite them felt their hearts settle down. I can't believe that our class monitor has already slaughtered a saint, and we're still stuck in the combat emperor realm. This won't do. If we don't work harder, he'll leave us in the dust again. Ing Liang clicked his tongue in wonder. Yes, class leader's growth rate is simply monstrous. Our cultivation in the sacred boundary has already been completely surpassed by him. Yu Linlin stuck out her tongue, and her beautiful eyes were filled with helplessness. Compared to Lin Chen's cultivation speed, I'm afraid we won't be able to catch up to him in this lifetime. Han Ziyan covered her mouth and chuckled. Everyone looked at each other and laughed at the same time. In the end, the various sect leaders and sages led everyone away and said their goodbyes. At night, Lung Yueqi was alone in the Ice Heart Palace and was summoned by the palace master. The palace master solemnly said, "Girl, it's time to activate your 9 absolute cold veins and cultivate the second half of the cultivation method." Lung Yueqi nodded. Yueqi is ready. Palace master, please do your best. The Thousand Gold Association's headquarters was already in a mess. The president has actually fallen? Even the 2 saints have disappeared without a trace. Looks like this news is true. The president really died at the hands of the Black Horse Club's Lin Shun. The upper echelons of the Chamber of Commerce were in a bit of a mess. Some of them with evil intentions had already begun to take away the inventory and goods of the Chamber of Commerce. Without the 3 sages, the blow to the Chamber of Commerce was devastating. Qin family, Great Hall. Qin Shaodian was drenched in cold sweat, as if he was sitting on pins and needles. He was so scared that he almost peed his pants. Qin Jintian had acted because of him. Now that Qin Jintian had fallen, the Qin family had directly lost a sword saint. The death of a saint was a great loss to any force below the 5th grade. All the upper echelons of the Qin family gathered in the Great Hall. The atmosphere was unprecedentedly strange. Sai, forget it. This kid has a relationship with Purple Cloud King Valley. Even a 5th grade sect returned empty-handed. I'm afraid it will be a long time before we can take revenge. The Qin family patriarch spoke after a long time, as if he had aged many years. Hidden Pavilion's headquarters. The dark and simple Great Hall was even more desolate than usual. The tea was cold, and the pavilion was empty. 2 pairs of eyes opened in the dark night. One of them was filled with rage and killing intent that soared to the 9 heavens. The Black Horse Club destroyed my hidden pavilion. If I don't take revenge, I'll be ashamed of my pavilion master. Even the patriarch and pavilion master have fallen at his hands. We're no longer this kid's match. We can only ask that Lord to take action. As soon as he finished speaking, there was silence. Are we really going to ask that, Lord? The voice that was filled with rage was now trembling with fear. Another person said, "We have no choice. This kid has the secret of an ancient saint. Perhaps this is the only way to move that Lord." Those forces that had sided with the hidden pavilion were all wailing. Their sects had lost a saint. In the battle on Kirin Cloud Island, the 5 saints that had died were from their 3rd grade sects. There were only 3 to 4 saints in a 3rd grade sect. 1 death was 1 less. It was a heavy blow to the entire sect. In the endless darkness of the void, a human figure wrapped in a cold, demonic light surged out from the darkness like a tornado. He held the golden roll in his hand. His dark eyes were filled with demonic light as he stared at the name Lin Shun on the golden roll. Bang! He crushed the golden roll. It was as if he had crushed that dazzling name. "So, your name is Lin Shun. How dare you steal the demonic aura of my sky, devouring mirror?" Ha! His laughter was like the cry of an owl, echoing in the void. An island floated in the sky. It was as vast as a continent. There were mountains and seas on the island, and palaces were everywhere. There was a golden ancient pagoda in the middle. It was like an immortal sacred site. The sun, moon, and stars were all contained in it. Inside the ancient pagoda, a figure appeared on the supreme throne. When the figure appeared, a gust of cold wind blew and turned into thousands of demonic birds. The ancient pagoda that looked like a sacred site instantly turned into a chilling hell. The person on the throne opened his eyes. It was as if a part of hell was howling. His voice was very hoarse, like fingernails scratching the wall. This old fart, he's actually not dead yet. Does he still have a successor? No matter what successor you find, this lord will kill them all. This lord is about to break through your secret. Cultivating a high-grade odd crystal is just around the corner. Shwa! An afterimage appeared and knelt on one knee, wearing a ghost mask. Master, the figure on the throne spoke indifferently. The sacred burial mountain range is about to open. Go and see if you can fish in troubled waters and get that old fart's burial goods. Also, the figure on the throne flicked his hand and shot a talisman at the demon masked man. He said indifferently, "My main body is still in seclusion in cloud beyond heaven. Take this to the head pavilion and ask someone to take action. Bring me the head of Lin Shun of the Black Horse Society." The ghost masked man took the talisman, and there were a few ancient words engraved on it. In Sky Talisman Decree. This subordinate accepts the order. The ghost masked man flashed and disappeared. The figure on the throne narrowed his eyes, and a gust of cold wind blew in the ancient pagoda. The moment that person's murderous aura burst out, his entire body was shining with a dense starry light. It was a pity that no one saw this scene. If one observed carefully, the starlight on this person's body was actually the light of odd crystals. A speck of starlight was a complete odd crystal. This person's entire body was filled with twinkling stars. It was extremely terrifying. Chapter 1067. The rules of the Purple Cloud King Valley were extremely strict, and Lin Shun, an outsider, could come and go as he pleased in the Purple Cloud King Valley. He could only be so willful because he had the little demon empress Purple Cloud King medallion. Thousands of miles away from Purple Realm Valley, Lin Shun sat on the dragon's back, resting with his eyes closed. The dragon emperor spread its wings and flew across the sky like a bolt of lightning. Consumed 2,499 strengthening points. Strengthening Sacred Flame Phoenix Bloodline successful. This time, Lin Shun spent another 3 million strengthening points, raising his Green Dragon and Winged Dragon bloodlines to plus 15. Sacred Flame Phoenix Bloodline to plus 14. Phoenix Wing speed increased by more than 2 times. The Dragon Emperor's speed and bloodline ability also increased. The system screen kept popping up, and Lin Shun's doppelganger continued to refine a huge amount of Silver Saint Origin coins. The high-level Battle Chi Essence attribute kept increasing. My pure strength and the Dragon Emperor's pure strength have both reached a bottleneck. Unless there is a great opportunity, with long Qingwa's accumulation, it will take at least a few hundred years to reach the Saint Realm. If the Dragon Emperor becomes a Saint Beast, it will need even more energy. Lin Shun exhaled. The simplest and most effective way for a vicious beast to level up was to swallow a vicious beast core. If he could find a level 8 vicious beast core, the Dragon Emperor would have a chance to level up. Now I can use the 9 Tribulations star twice a day. It is said that there will be monster-level geniuses in the top 10,000 of the genius ranking participating this time. It is said that there are even monsters that can fight against saints. Lin Shun narrowed his eyes. Without the Godslayer, I don't have the power to fight against a Saint Realm expert. Even a saint with 1 saint point open can crush me. This time I can only rely on my killing moves and high energy, delaying runes. If I meet a genius that can fight against a Saint Realm expert, it will be a tough battle. I can only wait and see if Little Shadow can help me fly. For days later, at the border of the southern region, a continental plate appeared in front of them. A majestic mountain range whose end couldn't be seen gradually came into view. It was like a dragon crouching on the ground, tall and imposing. The void was filled with purplish-black mist floating, and even space was corroded into a distorted state. This is the sacred burial mountain range. The miasma in the void can only be resisted by cultivators of the Saint Plane. Do cultivators below the Saint Plane have to wait for the miasma to dissipate? Lin Shun put away the Dragon Emperor and leaped into the air. His body turned into a shadow, and his aura disappeared. 8 hours later, Lin Chun arrived at one side of the mountain range. The miasma overflowed into the sky like a poisonous fog that didn't disperse all day. It made one's hair stand on end. It looks like the miasma hasn't completely dissipated yet. Lin Chun furrowed his brows. Suddenly, the clanging cries of dragons reverberated all around. The dazzling sword chi condensed into a sword-light dragon. A young man stood proudly on top of the sword-light dragon. His eyes were like 10,000 swords. He wore a green robe and had his arms crossed in front of his chest. Lin Chun instantly felt a sharp pressure spread out. Every wisp of air seemed to have become the sword energy of the green-robed man. It's a genius ranked in the top 10,000 of the genius list. He's very strong. He's on a completely different level from the Nangong Mia. While Lin Chun was surprised, the nine-tailed celestial fox with its 9 snow-white fox tails stepped on the clouds and appeared out of thin air. On top of the celestial fox were 2 beautiful women. Their auras were strong, no less than that of the green-robed man on the sword-light dragon. The green-robed man's eyes flashed like lightning. Celestial Fox Double Charm. You think you can get a share of the sacred burial mountain range with your little charm technique? The beautiful woman covered her mouth and giggled. The Sword Monarch's words seemed to be biased against us sisters. Do you want to try? Her smile was charming like 100 flowers blooming, but there was a cold, murderous intent hidden in her charm. Humph! The green-robed man coldly snorted. The charm dissipated. His eyes were still sharp, but there was a hint of vigilance in them. When the laughter came out, even Lin Chun, who was dozens of miles away, felt dizzy. It was as if there was a woman's voice echoing in his ears, forcing him to break the illusion with his mental power. Lin Chun was speechless. Every word and action makes people fall into an illusion. Killing people in battle is due to carelessness. Retreating, Lin Chun dived into the desolate forest below. As if it was just the beginning, in half an hour, the wind and clouds changed, and strange phenomena appeared. Powerful war emperors' auras crossed the void. Another batch of geniuses on the genius list had arrived. There are more than 100 geniuses gathered here alone. They're all ruthless people. There are also some hidden old monsters and war emperors. Their auras are past their prime. I'm afraid they're fighting for the last opportunity in their lives. If they can break through to the Saint Realm in the sacred burial mountain range, they can change their fate. Lin Chun held his breath, and his consciousness dived into the peach blossom plant pouch. Inside the peach blossom plant pouch, the long qing shu and clear jade tree had formed thousands of brilliant veins that were like fire and crystals. This was the precursor to the birth of an odd crystal. Lin Chun's eyes flashed with a trace of passion. It won't be long before the first low-grade, fire-type odd crystal is born. The other embryonic water and earth-type odd crystals were also gradually taking shape. Lin Chun's 4th plant of luck finally entered the growth stage with the nourishment of the gold Saint Origin coins and the purchased Tianyi holy water. This plant of luck was very mysterious. It wasn't as large as the previous 3 plants of luck, nor did it produce a large amount of silver Saint Origin coins. It was only a few dozen meters tall. Its blooming branches and leaves were suffused with a faint silver glow, like a silver jade tree under the starry sky. It produced fruits the size of lychees, and the surface was covered with silver gauze. The light flowed, and the fragrance was restrained. It was extremely mysterious. The more Lin Chun observed, the more surprised he became. Finally, he recognized the body of this plant of luck and exclaimed, "Could this be the legendary Wandering Divine Tree?" Low-grade plant of luck, Wandering Divine Tree, was born in the core area of the spiritual storm. If the area had a certain amount of vitality, there would be a small chance of giving birth to the seed of the Wandering Divine Tree. This plant of luck wouldn't produce silver Saint Origin coins. It would only produce one type of fruit, Wandering Divine Fruit. Lin Chun plucked 3 astral travel fruits and swallowed them. As they entered his stomach, A large amount of mental power poured into his spiritual sea. Obtained 7 points of spiritual force, 9 points of spiritual force, 6 points of spiritual force. When the system screen popped up, Lin Shen's spirit was lifted and he was full of energy. Lin Shen couldn't help but be ecstatic. It's indeed a divine item known as an alchemist, wandering divine fruit. Ha ha ha. I've hit the jackpot. This thing is said to be even rarer than the dragon clear tree, the true spirit tree, and the other 9 treasures plants of providence. Every spiritual plant of luck had its own special holy item. The clear jade tree was the clear jade dew, which could purify spiritual impurities and negative energy in the sea of consciousness. The red gold tree was the red gold vine, which could strengthen the defense of the body. It had the defense of pure gold and was tough on the outside but tough on the inside. The long qing shu was the long qinghua, which could increase vitality. Its energy was vast and gentle. It was both a sacred item for body refinement and a sacred item for healing. And this wandering divine tree was the wandering divine fruit, which could increase spiritual force, increase spiritual perception, increase spiritual sensitivity, and make up for spiritual exhaustion. It could even heal many spiritual injuries. Rumor has it that the wandering divine tree is almost extinct in the sacred boundary. The value of a wandering divine fruit is comparable to a finished sacred pill. It's impossible for the rank 4 and rank 5 sects in the outside world to have a wandering divine tree. Its value is comparable to a mid-grade spiritual plant of luck. Lin Chen's heart trembled. With such a treasure, it was only a matter of time before he reached the transcendent realm. Even the supreme realm of alchemy that Lin Chen pursued would no longer be empty words. If the spirit plants of fortune that Lin Chen had revealed during the Four Powers Conference were not the Longqing tree and the clear jade tree, but the wandering divine tree, the Four Powers Conference would have triggered a great battle between the sages, and there would have been no chance of survival. Chapter 1068. Rumor had it that a 4th-rank sect in the Flame Domain had obtained the Wandering God Tree. In just half a month, that sect had been completely wiped off the map of the Flame Domain. The Wandering God Fruit was a supreme treasure that all alchemists pursued. The effect of increasing one's spiritual power and spiritual sensitivity would affect the accuracy of the alchemist's hand seals. It would directly improve the alchemist's skills. I'll have to guard this information to death in the future. The Wandering God Fruit can only be enjoyed by myself. The Long Qingwo is only a body refining saint-grade treasure. To some old monsters in the saint realm, the Long Qingwo is mostly used for healing. They won't personally come out to deal with me. If news of the Wandering God Tree is exposed, I won't be able to survive even if I have 9 lives. Lin Chen laughed inwardly as he ate all the Wandering God Fruits. A man's wealth is his own ruin. Not to mention Lin Chen's current strength. Even if he entered the Saint Realm, he wouldn't be able to protect the Wandering God Tree. At the very least, he would have to be at the 4th Heaven True Saint Realm. Lin Chen used the innate dark shadow art to conceal his presence. While he was cultivating, he hid in the desolate forest like a stone, not moving at all. Another 3 days passed. Occasionally, there would be a terrifying explosion in the void. Geniuses had gathered. Just the south side of the mountain where Lin Chen was located had more than 1,000 geniuses. They were all geniuses ranked in the top 10,000 of the genius ranking. Almost all of them came from 5th-rank sects in the 36 regions. There were even some whose names on the genius ranking were unable to be revealed. Their origins were extremely terrifying. Lin Chen floated in the air. At this time, the miasma in the mountain range had mostly dissipated. However, the miasma in the air still hadn't dissipated. Only the surface of the mountain range had dissipated. I'll be able to enter soon. Lin Chen prepared himself. He was ready to unleash the ultimate moment and the 8 transformations at any time. This time, it was different from the Rainbow Island. He had to enter the Sacred Burial Mountain range as soon as possible. He couldn't let go of any trace of the Sky Master Battle Sage's whereabouts. If other geniuses found it first, the Tai heaven-concealing technique would have nothing to do with him. All of a sudden, a strange phenomenon that no one had expected occurred. Rumble. An abyss-like fissure tore open in the sky, and a world-shaking aura swept through the outer region of the holy burial mountain range. The expressions of all the geniuses changed slightly, and they quickly retreated a distance. Lin Chen's eyes turned solemn. This is the aura of a saint level 4. And more than one? A fourth heaven true saint is here. A slender black-robed figure drenched in blood suddenly rushed out of the huge abyss in the sky. Then it rushed into the sacred burial mountain range like a beam of light. The billowing demonic chi was like a mad dragon emerging from the world, destroying everything in its path. No one dared to block it. The black-robed figure wore a cloak, making it impossible to see his true appearance. But as he rushed into the holy burial mountain range, he unexpectedly turned his head and looked in a certain direction. That direction was none other than Lin Chen. Lin Chen seemed to sense something. The demonic seal in his palm began to circulate with a faint purple light. It's the mysterious demon-human powerhouse I met in the 9 regions. Lin Chen's heart was in turmoil. She was actually injured, and he even broke into the sacred burial mountain range. Boom, boom, boom. The moment the black-robed woman rushed into the holy burial mountain range, 999 rays of holy light rose into the sky. It was as though an immortal saint had descended upon the world. Damn it, that devil girl has rushed in. She's been hit by my 9 holy chi. She won't be able to hold on for long. She's on her last breath. Don't worry, that's the holy burial mountain range. There are restrictions that specifically target true saints. The higher the cultivation of a true saint, the easier it is to be targeted by the restrictions. Our lives will be in danger if we enter. The group of true saints transmitted their voices to each other. They didn't rush in. After so many years of holy war, many true saints understood what kind of terrifying existence was buried in the holy burial mountain range. The higher the cultivation of a true saint, the more dangerous it was to enter the holy burial mountain range, unless their cultivation surpassed the existence that was buried in the mountain range. That devil girl is extremely likely to be related to the incident in the past. It's better to kill 100 innocent people than to let go of any possibility. We must kill her at all costs. A few of the Saint Realm experts seem to have decided to cut off all means of retreat and charge into the sacred burial mountain range. Lin Chen's eyes trembled slightly. He was almost certain that the true saints in the sky were stronger than the 3 fourth heaven true saints who had chased after him in the past. At the very least, they were on the same level as the 2 purple Cloud King Valley Elders. Extremely strong. Are you all muddle-headed? If we go in now, we'll fall into the devil girl's trap. Why don't we do this? She's already heavily injured, and she's been surrounded by us for a long time. Moreover, she's been hit by my 9 holy chi. In another 2 days, the 9 holy chi will corrode her entire body. At that time, she won't even have a tenth of her strength left. Even a true saint with a single saint point would be able to kill her. Why don't we let these little fellows take action? That's right. These youngsters are all little monsters ranked in the top 10,000 of the genius ranking. Their talents are peerless, and some of them can even fight a true saint for a few rounds. If they take action, they'll definitely be able to kill that devil girl. With the geniuses surrounding her from the inside, and us blocking her from the outside, let's do it this way. The capital needed to move these little fellows can't be too little. Let's use all of our resources to move them. After making up their minds, a black-robed young man appeared in the sky. His face was like jade, but his eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of life as he spoke indifferently. Geniuses of the 36 regions, this old man and the others are from the southern region's 6th-ranked families and sections. The 8 Remoteness Dragon Hall, Sky Extinction Sword Gate, and Falling Lightning Pavilion. The geniuses looked at them, and their voices spread out in all directions of the holy burial mountain range. Lin Chen's heart sank. They actually came from 3 rank 6 sects, which are the most powerful of them all. This time, a stinky demonic tribe has infiltrated our sacred boundaries southern region. This old man doesn't need to say more about the demonic tribe's influence on our sacred boundary. When the demonic tribe was mentioned, some of the geniuses' faces were filled with strong, killing intent and hatred. Today, we will issue a warrant for the capture of that demonic tribe. Whoever brings her head to us will be rewarded with an incomplete orange tier combat skill, 2 first-grade sacred artifacts, 3 divine pills for top-grade purple tier alchemy handprints, and 10 million silver Saint Origin coins. When such rewards were announced, the geniuses had different expressions. A warrant issued by a 6th-ranked sect in the southern region? Interesting. An orange tier combat skill. This young master is interested in this reward. Even if I can't cultivate it, I can exchange it for a top-grade treasure. Looks like we have another target in the Holy Burial Mountain range this time. Some of the geniuses were eager to try. Some were determined to get it, and some didn't care at all. Only Lin Chen's mouth twitched slightly. F***. What the hell are these old saints doing? They even took out an orange tier combat skill. No matter what the conflict between the female demonic tribe and these people was, Lin Chen had to ensure her safety now. Lin Chen had to get other ways to enter the sacred prison from the female demonic tribe. Otherwise, the demonic eye of the 9 regions would break out of the seal one day and cause chaos in the 9 regions. Chapter 1069. But once this wanted notice was issued, Lin Chen would have to stand on the opposite side of all the geniuses who wanted to hunt her if he wanted to help her. I have to find her first. Maybe I'll find her first to prevent her from being besieged by the geniuses. Lin Chen took a deep breath. Once he was besieged by the geniuses, even if he had a sure kill skill, he wouldn't dare to say that he could escape unscathed. Buzz, buzz, buzz. There is a spatial fluctuation in the sacred burial mountain range, and the miasma dissipated. Rumble. There was a genius whose movement technique was extremely fast. He took the lead and rushed in, not fearing the dangers inside at all. Whoosh! Lin Chen also rushed in. Suddenly, a black-clothed youth in front of him turned his head strangely and stared in his direction. Lin Chen could only see that in his eyes there was a sharp glint that was like an owl's, and in his deep eyes there was an infinite darkness. He actually saw me? Who is this person? I'm in the innate shadow spell, and my aura is hidden to the extreme. Even the saints can't sense me. How did he see me? Lin Chen was shocked. But fortunately, this youth didn't seem to have any intention to fight Lin Chen. He was just a little confused, and he was the only one who could see Lin Chen. Lin Chen felt a troublesome and dangerous aura from him. If they were to fight, he might have to use his sure kill skill. Lin Chen was the first to enter the sacred burial mountain range. The inside of the mountain range was dark red, like a graveyard. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lin Chen unleashed his ultimate moment and 8 transformations. His aura surged, and he turned into a white light dragon shadow and rushed straight into the mountain range. After a while, there were sounds of fighting coming from all around, accompanied by the roars of the ferocious beasts. Someone had already encountered battle. It's very disadvantageous to fight in the air here. The miasma at the top has not disappeared. If you want to fight in the air, only the saints can guarantee your safety. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes and then looked down at the demonic seal in his palm. At this time, the demonic seal's light was dim, but Lin Chen had a very mysterious feeling. The closer he was to a certain direction, the stronger the demonic seal's reaction. It was as if it was calling out to him. The one who pulled the devil seal is that woman from the Devil Cultivator clan. Lin Chen's heart stirred. Suddenly, he saw an ancient altar. A glazed skeleton had passed away on the altar, and the surroundings were enveloped in a pale green holy light. The area within 1,000 feet was as pure as snow, and the holy aura was supreme. Dozens of attribute light, orbs floated around the skeleton, the remains of a saint. Even the bones contained an extraordinary fluctuation of holy power. Even the marrow contained a strong energy. The saint actually fell here. From the looks of it, he must have been seriously injured and ran all the way here. While Lin Shan was still in shock, a saber light suddenly slashed over like a wild dragon. Lin Chen's figure flashed, avoiding the blade light. The saber light shredded everything within a radius of several hundred feet, destroying mountains and splitting the earth. The three streaks of battle radiance were like flying pear blossoms and leaves as they fluttered and flickered in the air. Along the way, they cut through a towering tree as if they were cutting tofu. Lin Chen dodged again, dodging again. While dodging the attack, Lin Chen collected all the attribute light orbs. Obtained 5992 battle chi essence, 23 spiritual force, 55 wood energy, 22 wood energy. The quality of the attribute value was extremely high. Lin Shan rushed to the saint skeleton and placed his hand on it. A fourth tribulation war emperor trash dares to sneak in here. The blood-red clothed youth walked out of the blood mist with a saber at his waist. Opposite the youth, there were three black-clothed old men who were like ghosts. They were a genius on the genius ranking and 3 fifth tribulation war emperors. Lin Chen did not underestimate these 4 people. The latter 3 were even more terrifying. They were the oldest war emperors in the sacred boundary. This was because they might have stayed in the 5th tribulation war emperor realm for 100,000 years or even longer. They were not comparable to ordinary 5th tribulation war emperors. No one could guess what kind of trump card these old war emperors were hiding. They had entered the sacred burial mountain range to seek a heaven-defying opportunity to change their fate. They could do anything. Lin Chun was surrounded. However, he laughed and said with a harmless face, "You guys are making me scared. Forget it, I won't fight with you guys." After saying this, Lin Chun threw the saint skeleton in the direction of the 3 old men. The saint skeleton was as heavy as a mountain. Only with Lin Chen's strength could he throw it. The skeleton rolled up a gust of wind. Throw the skeleton away and run. Lin Chen did in one go. The 4 old men did not expect him to be so decisive. They instantly started fighting for the saint's skeleton. Rumble. The blood-red clothed youth wielded the saber in his hand. When he waved the saber energy burst out like flowers falling from the sky and slashed toward the 3 old men. The battle between the 2 sides instantly destroyed the vitality within a radius of more than 10 miles. The range of the battle was increasing. Something's wrong. The remaining bone marrow energy in the saint skeleton has also been completely lost. The black-clothed old man, who had just fought for dozens of rounds, noticed something strange. The 4 old men were not simple people. They instantly regained their senses. Damn it, it's that 4th tribulation war emperor kid's doing. Lin Chun had already run away. Successfully decomposed the bone marrow energy of the saint skeleton. Consumed 99 mid-level heavens path points. Received 20,000 blood essence, 100,000 high-level battle chi essence, 100 talent points, 265 wood element energy. Beautiful. It seems that I can decompose the saint skeleton to obtain attribute points. As long as I have more of the saint skeleton, it won't be a problem for me to break through to the 5th tribulation war emperor. Lin Chun was wild with joy. However, he did not forget his first task. The Heaven Prime Battle Sage's skeleton was between the sacred burial mountain range's core area and the inner area. That place was filled with danger. Even if a monster-level genius entered, he would not be able to reach it so quickly. First, he had to find a mysterious woman of the demon tribe. Once her life was endangered by other geniuses, the possibility of him entering the sacred prison would be next to zero. If he relied on normal means to enter, it would be impossible to escape. The decomposing of the saint skeleton can be done by my doppelgangers. There's no need to fight. As long as they touch the skeleton, they will be able to decompose it. Moreover, my doppelgangers do not have to fear death at all. In one breath, Lin Shun released all of his doppelgangers from the peach blossom plant pouch. Even Little Shadow was released. Lin Shun used ultimate convergence and ultimate moment. His clones went all out, and they all used their movement techniques to rush in different directions. Little fellow, it's up to you now. Lin Shun patted Little Shadow's head. However, Little Shadow suddenly shook its head. The space here is too turbid. There are also strong space barriers. Traveling through the void is very dangerous. The deeper space cannot be traveled. Little Shadow's childish voice reverberated in Lin Chen's mind through telepathy. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. What? You can't travel through the void here? Little Shadow's body turned into a pitch-black dragon shadow. Purple lightning curled around its eyes and revealed a serious look. It nodded slightly. No wonder it became a place that even the saints are afraid of. It is indeed dangerous. After losing Little Shadow's innate talent, it was a bit like an eagle that had lost its wings. Little Shadow hid in Lin Chen's arms. Even if it couldn't travel through the void, its innate talent would always allow Lin Chen to sense danger ahead of time. Within a range of 100 miles, it would be the first to sense danger or the appearance of a treasure and promptly inform Lin Chen. Lin Chen went all the way into the inner circle of the sacred burial mountain range. After 2 days, he arrived at a steep and dangerous giant mountain peak. Billowing black, demonic energy billowed around it. Even the vicious beasts that lived here didn't dare to approach. Lin Chen exhaled. Through the dim light, he looked at the mountain peak. The demonic seal in his palm shined like a purple jade. That mysterious woman was inside this demonic mountain. Chapter 1070. Lin Chen had the demonic seal in his hand, so he was not affected by the demonic chi of the mountain. If he wanted to force his way in, he would need to be at least in the top 10,000 of the genius list. The demonic chi here was so dense that it was almost solid. It was extremely dangerous. However, Lin Chen felt that compared to the demonic chi of the 10 demonic statues in the underground cave of Rainbow Island, it was not worth mentioning. Little Shadow also had the bloodline of the demonic race, so he was not afraid of the demonic chi's corrosion. One person and one shadow went deep into the mountain. Inside the mountain, there were many strange buildings. Some were shaped like pavilions, but they were full of holes. Some were shaped like skeletons, but their doors were wide open. Lin Chen found a white jade building that looked like a skull. His breathing was slightly trembling as he stepped into the building. Inside the white jade skeleton, it was desolate. Many buildings were covered in dust, and poisonous insects were crawling everywhere. The only area that they did not dare to approach was 100 feet. In that area, there was a slender and beautiful figure lying there. Lin Chen walked over and picked up the black-robed woman. He frowned slightly. She was unconscious. She had fainted. For a powerhouse of this level, being unconscious like this meant that she was in imminent danger. Lin Chen helped her up and released his spiritual power to check her physical condition. He also injected a wisp of gentle water vapor in her body, but he found that it was useless. His battle chi was not qualified to heal her at all. What a domineering physique. How strong is her cultivation? Although she is seriously injured and has been hit by an extremely strange Yin-type holy chi, her body is still resisting the corrosion of this Yin-type holy chi. Lin Chen frowned. He was about to put her into the peach garden plant pouch to treat her properly. The peach garden plant pouch at his waist erupted with a suction force, trying to suck the woman into its internal space. However, the peach garden plant pouch trembled violently, and the internal space kept shaking. Lin Chen was so scared that he stopped immediately. He was dumbfounded. It's because the demonic chi is too strong. It's the same situation as the sky-devouring mirror. Even if she is seriously injured, the demonic chi in her body is still as strong as the sea. If I forcibly put her into the peach garden plant pouch, the internal space will not be able to withstand it and directly explode. A thorny feeling arose in his heart. If he couldn't store it in his peach blossom plant pouch, then his operation this time would be greatly inconvenient. He couldn't possibly bring an injured person to compete with monster-level geniuses. Could he? Her breathing was weak. It didn't sound like it. I can only give it a try. With my level of refining medicine, I should be able to have some effect on her. I'll get 2 of my clones to come back and assist in refining medicine. 2 of them will be in charge of searching for the saints' remains to disintegrate, while 1 of them will be in charge of advancing. Once they discover something, they'll immediately teleport to the location of the clones that are advancing. With a thought, Lin Shun recalled his 2 clones. After leaning the mysterious woman against the wall, Lin Shun took out a total of 100 pill furnaces. She's being eroded by the Yin-type holy qi, and her own demonic qi is also resisting it. The divine pill refined this time must be mild, and it must not react with the demonic qi. It must also restrain the Yin-type holy qi. Only by getting rid of the Yin holy qi can she be healed. Lin Shun selected from more than 28th grade pill recipes. His harvest on Rainbow Island had enriched his pill recipe inventory by a lot. Some of his 8th grade herbs were extremely rare and had not been decomposed yet. They were now put to use. 1st grade divine pill, Juyang life-restoring pill. It harmonizes yang energy and heals injuries with saint energy. It warms the limbs and bones, softens the meridians and organs. Without saying a word, Lin Shun began to refine. He and his clones performed the true dragon sacred hands. His blue spiritual power controlled the faint dragon qi, which flowed through the marks on his hands. Whoosh! Floating clouds of herbs poured into the pill furnaces. Thousands of 7th grade herbs began to dissolve and refine. The refining of the 8th grade herbs was even more precise and smooth. Streams of spiritual power like dragon qi were injected into a piece of earth marrow stalactite, and the snow-white essence was extracted like a needle tip. Lin Shun and his 2 clones were soon sweating profusely. Controlling 100 pill furnaces to refine medicine accurately consumed a lot of energy. In the holy burying mountain range, where danger lurked on every side, Lin Shun wouldn't be so reckless. Even if he could refine medicine at high speed, his spiritual power would be exhausted by the time he finished refining, and his combat power would be greatly reduced. However, he was a man who had the Wanderer fruit. Lin Shun only dared to refine medicine with all his might in such a damned place. He was not afraid of his spiritual exhaustion afterwards. A man's endurance, the Wanderer fruit, was worth it. Time passed. Lin Shun and his 2 clones refined medicine with all their might for 2 days and 2 nights. As for Lin Shun's clones, Zhen de Xiu and Zhen de Chong, who were outside, had perished. There was no other reason. His clones found the remains of 2 saints. The moment they decomposed their attributes, they were besieged and killed. Halfway through, Lin Shun swallowed 2 wander fruits and continuously used the ultimate Guyuan talent. He was full of energy and could last for a long time. He maintained full power throughout the refining process. The efficiency was terrifyingly high. On the 3rd day, an orange-yellow brilliance shot into the sky. There were signs of a 1st grade sacred pill being born. The demon mountain was shrouded in demonic aura. The sacred pill's phenomenon did not attract the attention of the nearby experts. It's finally done. Lin Shun walked to the black-robed woman's side and helped her up. He removed the veil of her cloak, pried open her cherry-red lips, and stuffed the hot pill into her mouth. As the pill entered her body, yang energy circulated. It did not repel the demonic aura produced. Instead, it began to harmonize with the Yin-type sacred aura and eliminate it. The woman murmured in her sleep. Lin Shun controlled the spear to the limit. Yang energy merged with Yin. The hot impulse made her delicate body tremble involuntarily. The cloak fell off. Lin Shun was stunned for a moment. The beauty in front of him was peerless. Her fine black hair was like a waterfall. Her eyebrows were beautiful, and her collar was like a tassel. Her snow-white, beautiful lines seemed to form the most beautiful face in the world. The tip of her eyebrows was decorated with cinnabar. She was extremely charming. Her jade cheeks were dyed red, and her eyebrows faintly revealed sadness. She had the face of a fairy, but the temperament of a witch was extremely charming. Every word and action seemed to be able to arouse the most direct desire of a man. Lin Chen almost had a nosebleed. She did not need any decorations. Even if she was in the darkness would become her embellishment, adding a mysterious beauty to her. It was as if everything in the world could only serve as a foil to her. Her appearance and temperament were comparable to that of all the women Lin Chen had seen in his life. Only Lung Yueqi, by Ruoyan, the two beauties who were as beautiful as fairies, and the little demon empress who was extremely unique and seductive. Lin Chen had always thought that there was a fierce woman hidden under the cloak. After all, the first time he talked to this woman, she was as cold as ice. The woman was restless because of the harmony between the essence of the nine-yang life returning pill and the yin-type sacred aura. Her eyes were not open, but she was moving chaotically and wanted to run out. Lin Chen pulled her back. An extremely primitive impulse rose to his lower abdomen. Lin Chen directly bit his lips, causing blood to flow. Chapter 1071. I, Lin Chen, have traversed tens of thousands of flowers. I would never do something like taking advantage of others. But this is too difficult. Quickly think of something to distract yourself. Lin Chen held her down to stop her from moving. His mind was occupied with other things. One had to know that even a top-notch charm technique wouldn't be able to put Lin Chen in such a sorry state, unless one's spirit power completely crushed Lin Chen's level. This woman had almost turned Lin Chen into a wild beast just by relying on her own charm. It could be seen how rare her beauty and temperament were. Just like that, Lin Chen hugged the woman for 4 hours, restricting her movements. He did not do anything else as he recited the collection of standalone king stories in his heart. Only then did the woman's restlessness gradually calm down. She was sweating, but her face gradually became rosy and better. She was still in a coma. Her eyebrows were knitted tightly, as if she was in a nightmare and could not wake up. Her injuries are getting better. The Jiang life-restoring elixir is slowly adjusting the horrible unholy qi. Next, she will be able to dissolve it gradually. The thorny problem was only half solved. Only when the unholy qi was completely dissolved could Lin Chen give her the long qingguo and the glazed bodhi seed. Otherwise, any holy healing item would be shattered by the two opposing forces in her body, and the healing effect would be minimal. 3 days have passed. There is no time to wait for her to dissolve the holy qi by herself. My doppelganger has entered the inner circle of the mountain range and sensed no less than the battles around. Unable to put the mysterious woman into the Taoyuan plant bag, Lin Chen could only carry her on his back. She was soft and fragrant. Lin Chen's mind swayed. He recalled the woman's stunning face and could not help but smile bitterly. Damn it, if not for the mental cultivation method, I don't think I can hold it in. It's so frustrating to be a man like this. Biting the tip of his tongue, Lin Chen turned into a shadow, and his doppelganger followed closely behind. Outside the demon mountain, 2 figures in white stopped. It was a man and a woman carrying a sword. They were like peerless swordsmen standing above the clouds. Their swords were not unsheathed, and their sharpness was restrained. The woman in white asked, "Senior brother, could you have sensed wrongly?" The man's gaze was as sharp as a sword. "I can't be wrong. I've been refining pills for many years, so I'm extremely sensitive to the phenomenon of pills being born. There must be a divine pill being born here." The white-clothed woman frowned. "But who would refine pills in such a damn place? I'm afraid it would be difficult to maintain one's rationality in there." Whoosh! As the two of them were conversing, 3 figures rushed out from Devil Mountain. The 2 of them were shocked. Among the 3 of them, there was a young man carrying an exquisite and slender black-robed figure on his back. His aura was weak and feeble, causing the 2 of them to be shocked. "It's that devil cultivator. There's something strange about this kid. cut off his escape route. Clang! The two of them drew their swords. The odd crystal's light surged. The clanging of a dragon's roar was like a cold blade. Two white rays of light suddenly slashed towards Lin Shun, flashing again and again at an extremely fast speed. The figure drew the bow, and the arrow light was like a feather rainbow drifting down, praising the god with a wisp of lightning. Sword fury soared to the heavens, rolling like a cloud of fire. The orange sword light slashed horizontally. Bang! Bang! The sword light exploded, and Lin Chen quickly retreated, causing the two of them to be stunned. Two fourth calamity combat emperors? Strange. Very strange. They actually used two orange rank combat skills at once. A fourth calamity combat emperor can actually take our sword techniques head on. Don't let that kid go chase. There must be a big secret. Take down that devil cultivator woman too. The two of them turned into a sword light and sped away. Lin Shun and his avatar retreated all the way. My innate shadow art can't hide her. These two geniuses are extremely strong, and their individual combat power is even stronger than Ling Jian's. They are in the top 10,000 of the genius list. Lin Chen kept his avatar and moved his mind. Super-dimensional teleportation. Activated super-dimensional teleportation, carrying living targets. 1. Teleported to space, coordinates 3. Cooldown time, 30 seconds. Consume 113 talent points. Whoosh! Lin Shun turned into a ray of light in front of the two of them, and the two geniuses were horrified. Space travel? Lin Shun arrived at the side of a quiet lake. The spatial coordinates he teleported to were exactly where the avatar of the Jundak Shui was at. This place was very far from the Devil Mountain where Lin Shun had first entered. It was at least 3,000 miles deep. Due to the large number of ferocious beasts and miasma blocking the way, it would take at least a few days to reach this place. This was the result of Lin Shen's avatar using his purple golden eyes to travel at full speed. He had ignored all the battles and treasures along the way. Lin Chen raised his head and looked at the sky. The miasma in the sky had shrouded from a height of 20,000 feet to a height of 10,000 feet. This is the inner circle of the mountain. The deeper you go, the lower the height of the miasma. You can't fight at a high altitude here. Once you're pushed into the miasma during the battle, you will definitely die if you're not at the Saint Realm. Lin Chen's eyes were solemn. He couldn't use his body movement skills as he wished in this place. If he got too close to the miasma in the sky and was pushed into it, he would most likely die. Bang! The battle exploded, and smoke rose everywhere. Dozens of auras rose from the valley dozens of miles ahead. Lin Shun activated his purple golden eyes and used his spiritual energy to sense it. He was surprised and said, "There are 4 saint remains over there?" At this moment, a dragon-shaped battle chi that looked like a yellow sand dragon swept across dozens of miles and attacked Lin Shun. Clang! Jundak Shui clenched Atlas at lightning speed and slashed the yellow sand dragon in half with a flash of sword light. "Hey, handsome guys over there, can you give that devil cultivator guy to me? I don't like fighting. Give him to me, and you can leave obediently." A frivolous and lazy voice reverberated in the air. Lin Chen lifted his head. 1,000 feet long yellow sand dragon was wreaking havoc with the sandstorm. On top of the yellow sand dragon's head, a purple-clothed young master sat cross-legged, looking at Lin Chen mockingly. His evil eyes emitted a charming light. When his gaze fell on the female demon on Lin Chen's back, he suddenly exclaimed in surprise, this demon guy is actually a female? Wow, she's a peerless beauty. Haha, I want her." The young master laughed and grabbed at the air with his 5 fingers. Puffed, puffed. His 5 fingers broke out with a tremendous force. His battle chi turned into millions of tons of yellow sand and enveloped Lin Shun. It swept across the 4 seas and could sink mountains and rivers with one palm. This move was simply beyond the scope of the War Emperor. It could almost kill an ordinary 5th Tribulation War Emperor at will. Damn it, so strong? Lin Shun was shocked. With a flash, the speed of Dragon Flash soared to the extreme. 4 consecutive absolute shadows. Sword Fury Atlas. Imperial Sky. Annihilation. The doppelganger's ultimate skill was used one after another. With the addition of instant light doppelganger, the attack was like a deluge of flowers. The saber and spear shadows bombarded the millions of tons of yellow sandstorm like a violent storm, forcibly breaking open a path. Bang! Bang! Even so, 2 of the doppelganger were destroyed in exchange for Lin Chen's chance to break out. All the attacks were divided into 5? The purple-clothed young master was puzzled. You actually took my attack with your 4th Tribulation War Emperor cultivation base? Freak, what a freak. Don't go. I only want the beauty. If you put the beauty down, I'll let you go. Lin Chen couldn't help but curse. What the F***? Chapter 1072. How dare you scold me? The purple-clothed young master flew into a rage out of humiliation. He stepped on the yellow dragon and went straight ahead. Wherever he went, the wind swept away everything in his path. Lin Chen flapped his sacred phoenix wings rapidly. He clearly saw that when the young master made his move, there was an odd crystal shining brightly in his body. Lin Chen was shocked. That's a complete low-grade odd crystal? This person can actually refine a complete low-grade odd crystal as a 5th Tribulation Combat Emperor. He's a true monstrous genius. He might even be able to fight against a sage. He's on a completely different level from the geniuses I met before. He destroyed 2 of Lin Chen's clones in one move. This person's strength was much stronger than the Nangong Mia and Ling Jian. Lin Chen transformed into a flash of lightning and fire. With his plus 15 Dragon Flash movement technique and plus 15 Sacred Phoenix bloodline, he was so fast that even the purple-clothed young master couldn't catch up to him. Lin Chen carried the mysterious woman and rushed to the center of the valley. The purple-clothed young master who was stepping on the yellow sand dragon smiled playfully. You want to bring me to the center of the chaotic battle and then take the opportunity to slip away? It's not that simple. Kid, I'm not that easy to fool. Swoosh, swoosh. Lin Chen led his clone into the valley. At this moment, 32 old antiques with 5 Tribulations cultivation were fighting over the remains of 3 saints. Even if they managed to snatch a sage's bone, the energy in the bone marrow would benefit them greatly. Seeing Lin Chen and his group charging into the valley, they attracted the attention of all the experts. When they saw the woman on his back, they couldn't help but be taken aback. The purple-clothed young master followed closely behind and grabbed with his 5 fingers again. Sand swirled in the air and battle chi swept across the land. Lin Chen leaned to the side and narrowly avoided it. Seeing that the others were about to attack, the purple-clothed young master suddenly shouted coldly, "Get out of my way. This is my goal." Once this name came out, countless old antiques' faces changed slightly. Zhao Tianquan? That demon conqueror, Zhao Tianquan? Damn it. Rumor has it that this kid has already entered the top 5,000 of the genius ranking. If he's not here to snatch the saint's remains, then don't provoke him. The group of old antiques immediately dodged, but Lin Chen seized this opportunity to charge in. He charged into the battle circle of the 2 saints' corpses, and his clone threw out 2 slowing runes. Consumed 220 advanced rune energy. Mirror Moon Imperial God. Zhen Ding's clone drew his saber from the other side, and the azure moon in his hand flashed with a moonlight that illuminated the world, knocking back several old antiques before they could react. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lin Chen dodged, carrying the beauty on his back as he snatched the 3 saint corpses. Many old antiques turned pale with fright. However, no one noticed that the energy within the saints' remains began to dissipate the moment Lin Chen's palm came into contact with it. Consumed 388 intermediate heavens path points to decompose the remains of 3 saints. Obtained 13,944 advanced battle essence, 22 fire energy, 52 lightning energy, 29 talent points, 55 darkness energy. Ha, big brother, we've succeeded. As his attributes soared, Lin Shen laughed and threw the three saints' remains in Zhao Tianquan's direction. Big brother? Could it be that these kids are colluding? Are they deliberately acting like they're hunting him down? The group of old antiques was instantly enraged, and their battle auras surged, shooting out colorful battle auras that turned into a violent storm that bombarded Zhao Tianquan. This kid is tricking me? F***CK. Zhao Tianquan pushed his hands out, and more than a dozen yellow sand dragons danced in the air, colliding with each other and shattering all the attacks. He kicked away the three saints' remains and cursed angrily. Get lost. I'm going to hunt that kid down. At that moment, an old antique suddenly exclaimed, something's not right. The energy of the three saints' remains has disappeared. Zhao Tianquan, is this your doing? Hand over the saint's bone marrow. Otherwise, don't blame me for being ruthless, even if you're from a rank 6 sect. A group of murderous old antiques surrounded Zhao Tianquan. He glanced at them from the corner of his eye and realized that the energy of the saint's remains had dried up. He immediately knew that he had been tricked. What a sinister kid. Zhao Tianquan gritted his teeth. Obtained 14,152 battle aura essences, 29,912 battle aura essences, 18,592 battle aura essences. Lin Shen's battle aura cultivation soared all the way. He had broken down 4 saints' remains along the way, and the energy in each of them was abnormally huge. Each saint's remains provided Lin Shen with no less than 500,000 high-level battle aura essences. Even if a saint had fallen, he was still a saint. The energy contained in each bone was no small matter. Lin Shen's body rumbled, and there were signs of a breakthrough. Lin Shen's 9 tribulations fate wheels battle aura fluctuations suddenly soared by more than 3 times. A 9-colored brilliance surged out from Lin Shen's body, and his aura soared. He actually broke through? These saints' remains are really treasures among treasures. Lin Shen licked his lips excitedly. Boom! A 9-colored cloud locked onto Lin Shen like a tribulation from the underworld. The 9-color tribulation cloud surged from the miasma. But because the miasma was turbid, the power of the heavenly tribulation condensed from the spiritual energy here was about 30% weaker than before. However, Lin Shen's heavenly tribulation was strange. Even though it was 30% weaker, he still felt a fatal threat. The last time I transcended the tribulation, I had little shadow to help me travel through the void. I won't be so lucky this time. Lin Shen narrowed his eyes. With a whoosh, a 9-colored flame shot toward him like a fire dragon. Whoosh! Lin Shen dodged it with his movement technique. Unexpectedly, the 9-colored fire dragon was mixed with a hidden force, and a second flame shot toward Lin Shen. Annihilation energy surged between Lin Shen's eyebrows, and he dispersed the 9-colored flame with annihilation. Boom! More than a dozen tornadoes like dark tides enveloped Lin Shen. This time, the attack was even fiercer. It was mixed with 3 tribulations: water tribulations, dark tribulations, and wind tribulations. Even Lin Shen's face was solemn. His clones moved together and fought with the heavenly tribulation energy. Whoosh! A black claw cut through the air and crushed a group of dark tornadoes near Lin Shen. Lin Shen was shocked. Little shadow appeared out of nowhere and turned into a 100-feet-long shadow. Its horns were like a deer's, its head was like a camel's, its eyes were like a rabbit's, its ears were like a cow's, its neck was like a snake's, its belly was like a crocodile's, its scales were like a carp's, its claws were like clouds, its tail was like a carp's, and its head was filled with purple lightning. It was a real ancient dragon. This dragon had the nobility of the dragon race, the murderous aura of the demon race, and the spirituality of Little Shadow. It was like an ancient giant that was showing signs of life. Damn, little guy, you're so good at fighting? Lin Shen was surprised. Little Shadow was a creature that couldn't be locked on by the chi of heaven and earth. Besides Lin Shen's clones, It was the only creature that could help Lin Chun pass the tribulation without suffering any backlash. Little Shadow winked at him proudly. With Little Shadow's help, Lin Chen's tribulation was like a hot knife through butter. The nine-colored heavenly tribulation came fiercely. If it was in the outside world, Lin Chun would have to use all his strength. However, in the sacred burial mountain range, more than 30% of its power had been corroded by the miasma. Lin Chun could fight the heavenly tribulation head-on, without holding back. Within 1,000 miles, many people were alarmed by the aura of the heavenly tribulation. Some of the geniuses immediately noticed the location of the heavenly tribulation. Strange, why is there a heavenly tribulation here? Could it be that a fourth tribulation battle emperor has entered this place? Chapter 1073. Nonsense. This is absurd. A fourth tribulation battle emperor wouldn't even be able to come here to die. How could he enter the inner circle? No, it might be the birth of a rare treasure. When some rare items are born, they'll trigger a heavenly tribulation. These rare items are all rare in the world. Let's go and have a look. Within a radius of 1,000 miles, all the old antiques, geniuses, and hermits were attracted by the aura of the heavenly tribulation. The ground was covered with spiderweb-like cracks, and the cracks were shocking. Lin Chun, who was standing beside the cracks, was carrying a beautiful woman on his back. He was panting heavily, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Congratulations to the host for advancing to a fifth tribulation battle emperor. Bang! Before Lin Chun could be happy for 2 seconds, he was sent flying. Damn! Who was behind me? Lin Chun, who was sent flying, cursed loudly and gasped for cold air. It was too painful. Little Dark Shadow immediately locked onto the black-robed woman who sent Lin Chun flying. Lin Chun shouted, "Wait, little guy." Lin Chun was puzzled. Has she woken up? The black-robed woman stood up unsteadily, as if she was drunk. Her eyes were empty, and she was mumbling in her sleep. I won't die. I will overthrow the human race. Hey, big sister, it's me. Don't you recognize me? The handsome guy who said he would take me away from the Jiuzhou continent. Lin Chun tried to wave at her. Unexpectedly, her eyes suddenly turned and she waved her sleeve. Demonic chi filled the sky, and a large number of blood-red ribbons swept across the sky to attack Lin Chun. Swoosh! Lin Chun leaped into the air and grabbed Little Dark Shadow, narrowly avoiding the black-robed woman's attack. She waved her sleeve and swept away all the obstacles within 100 feet. The violent unholy chi rampaged in her body. In a trance, some disordered memories rushed into her mind. No, I'm not a demon. I'm just doing this because of my ancestors. The woman seemed to have seen some kind of nightmare. She curled up on the ground with an expression of incomparable pain. She held her head with a pained expression. Powerless despair appeared on her beautiful face, like a sad and beautiful winter plum before it withered. What's wrong with her? It looks like he's not even conscious. Lin Chen's expression was grave. Bang! Bang! Suddenly, 2 loud noises could be heard as the mountain peak was crushed. For geniuses were actually charging over. Ha! It's actually a guy from the Devil Cultivator clan. It didn't take much effort to get him. Once I get rid of her, I'll get the Orange Tier Martial Arts Manual. The 4 geniuses laughed maniacally, and 2 sword lights shot out like white cranes spreading their wings, striking the 4 geniuses back. 2 silhouettes floated in the air, their clothes fluttering in the wind. There were swords hidden in their sleeves and white jade strapped to their waists. It was the man and woman who had encircled Lin Chun earlier, the 2 white-clothed swordsmen. Misty Sword Sect, you want to interfere too? There are 4 of us. Don't die here. The red-haired youth among the 4 geniuses sneered. You dare to snatch my prey? Do you want to die? The earth shook and the mountains shook. The roars were like thunder as the 2 behemoths arrived. It was a peak rank 7 primordial black demonic bear. It had the strength to move mountains and rivers, and its aura could swallow the world. On the back of the primordial black demonic bear sat two bare-chested, muscular men. Their veins were bulging like dragons, and they were ferocious and violent. Shocking killing intent shot out from their eyes like lightning, and their auras swept across the entire area. Two more super geniuses, and the situation became even more chaotic. Seeing that the situation was getting more and more chaotic, no one dared to make the first move. In the darkness, a window-like crack was torn open, and a black-robed, monkey-faced man appeared. He laughed strangely and said, "Hee, such a graceful and exquisite body. It's also because of the bloodline of the human race, right? The Devil Cultivator clan is a lowly and disgusting race that's even worse than pigs and dogs. Trash that's so lowly that it's disgusting. Trash." Another indifferent voice reverberated. I don't like you, monkey, but I have a complete consensus with you on the fact that the Devil Cultivator clan is trash. The cyan-robed young master walked in the floating clouds with his sword in hand. Wherever he passed, it was as if the sky would become a long green cloud, a vast expanse. Beside the cyan-robed young master, there was a woman with her eyes closed and a zither in her arms. She had a beauty that could captivate fish and beasts, but the murderous aura between her brows kept people 1,000 miles away. Rip! A bolt of golden lightning stretched across like a giant python, standing proudly in the air. The golden-robed man's eyes were like thunder, and a world of thunder was being born and destroyed. The dregs of the Devil Cultivator clan deserve to die. The golden-robed man suddenly shouted, and it was as if 10,000 thunderbolts had struck at the same time, causing heaven and earth to tremble. Heaven's gate will take this woman's life. 999 rays of light rolled down like a snow bridge and a stairway to heaven. 8 extraordinarily handsome and elegant young masters slowly walked down from the Dawn Snow Bridge. When each of their gazes swept across the audience, it was as if a sword had been unsheathed, revealing its sharpness. 20 geniuses surrounded the Devil Cultivator clan woman. They were all super geniuses ranked 9,000 to 8,000 on the genius ranking. Each of them was an existence that had shaken the world for thousands of years, a true living legend. The trash of the Devil Cultivator clan deserves to die. Today, I only want this person to die. All of you, get out of my way. The female genius of ethereal sword sect gritted her teeth, and her killing intent soared to the sky. The monkey-faced man laughed strangely and said, "Wait a minute, Xiao Qingyu. You're not the only one who wants to kill her." The 20 geniuses directly ignored Lin Chun, who was at the side. They did not put Lin Chun in their eyes at all. Arrogance. Absolute arrogance. This was the arrogance that belonged only to geniuses. They did not care what kind of talent Lin Chun had. As long as he did not enter the top 10,000 of the genius ranking, he had no right to speak in front of them. The black-robed woman was on the verge of collapse. She opened her eyes in a daze. From these people who judged her in a judgmental tone, she saw a scene that was similar to that day. That day, the world was dark, and blood seemed to have dyed every continent red. It dyed the 9 heavens red and covered the universe. The gods and Buddhas of the heavens, the Asuras of the outer realm, the demons under the stars, and the supreme experts of the entire world surrounded her. The curses of these supreme experts vaguely rang in her ears. The Devil Cultivator clan is really the disgrace of our devil race. The human race does not recognize this kind of trash race. The dregs of a human race and the devil race. This period of history should be annihilated, disappear forever. In that battle, the sun and moon lost their color, and the world collapsed. She was alone, and the life and death of the Devil Cultivator clan was only on her shoulders. That familiar and hysterical voice echoed in her ears again. Yao the revitalization of the Devil Cultivator clan depends on you. Yao who inherited the power of our ancestors, must complete their last wishes. You must make those humans who cruelly trampled on us pay the price. The Devil Cultivator clan will rise, and blood will be avenged. The ones who deserve to die are the devil race, the human race. Yao, the human race must die. Luo Yao, always felt that this burden was too heavy. How long had it been since the fragmented memories were pieced together? In a small wooden house, a chubby little girl's face was covered in tears. Her jade-like, clear eyes flowed with tears as she hugged her mother and cried, "Mother, why do they all bully me? They say that I'm a monster, an ugly monster, the most terrifying demon in the world." Her mother stroked the little girl's cheek and smiled gently. "How could that be? My Yao is cute and powerful. She has great power, but she has never abused it, nor has she hurt others. She has always helped others. How could such a kind person be a demon?" The girl wiped her tears. "Really? Really?" Her mother hugged the girl and smiled. "Of course it's true. Do you still remember the story of Fairy You that mother told you?" The girl seemed to recall something. "Fairy You." Chapter 1074. Her mother explained patiently. "That's right. Fairy You is kind, powerful, beautiful, and kind. Everyone mocked her for not knowing how to use her power, but she never hurt anyone. Instead, she took pride in helping others with her power. She used her kindness to accept everyone, and in the end, she led her race to ascend to the divine realm. Those who mocked her in the past all worshipped her as a god, and her race became one of the most powerful races in the divine realm. Yao, do you understand?" The little girl's eyes flashed with hope as she asked happily, "Mother, am I someone like Fairy You?" Her mother smiled gently and stroked her hair. "Yao, to become Fairy You, you can't just be kind. You have to have a heart that accepts others, and you have to have the willpower to endure hardships. Do you know how many ancient books Fairy You has read and how much suffering she has endured in order to save the world and reform her people? You also have to learn how to control your own power." That year, her mother told her the story of Fairy You year after year, and little Yao was filled with joy as she accepted others time and time again. When she was 7 years old, a dozen or so little friends were walking on a muddy path, and they were constantly throwing yellow mud at her. "Ha ha ha! Look at this ugly freak. She's smiling even when I throw mud at her. How disgusting. No, look at her. She's about to cry, but she's still smiling. She's amazing. I want to see how long she can keep that smile on her face." Little Yao forced a smile onto her chubby little face. "Mother said that I'm a girl like Fairy You, so I won't hold it against you." Everyone burst into laughter, and one of them threw a large chunk of mud at her face. "Fairy You, you're a freak. You even have horns on your head." Little Yao's nose twitched as tears welled up in her eyes. She could no longer maintain the smile on her face as she ran away. In a small wooden cabin, her mother's face was a little pale, but when the door was pushed open, her usual gentle smile appeared on her face. Little Yao hugged her mother tightly as tears flowed from her eyes. "Mother, am I really someone like Fairy You? Why does everyone still call me an ugly freak? Why do I have horns on my head? Why am I different from everyone else?" "Yao, ignore the gossip of others. Fairy You once walked the same path as you. You must persevere and endure. Growing horns is a gift from your father. Others don't know how to appreciate it, but in Mother's heart, you is the most unique and beautiful." When she was 10 years old, she said, "Mother, you lied to Yao. Yao isn't like you Shinzi at all. They say that Yao is the descendant of a lowly race. She's not even human, but a demon." Little Yao cried bitterly as she left the wooden house. Her mother wanted to chase after her, but her face suddenly turned green. There was a sweet taste in her throat, and she suddenly vomited blood. In the small forest at night, under the moonlight, little Yao held a sharp dagger, trembling as she slashed at the horn on her head. Blood flowed, splattering all over the ground. Little Yao endured the pain as she lay on the ground, tears streaming down her cheeks. She bit her lip, clenched her teeth, and stared at the moon with a smile. "I don't have horns anymore. I'm not a demon anymore." When she was 11 years old, her mother was bedridden. Beside the bed, Little Yao held her hand tightly as she cried. Mother Yao knows that she was wrong. Yao shouldn't have cut off her horn. Yao doesn't want to become a demon. Mother, don't leave Yao. Her mother gazed at her silently and kindly as she spoke with difficulty. Yao, you have to continue to cultivate and use your strength well. Her mother's face was as pale as paper as she revealed a final smile. One day, Yao will meet the strongest man in the world, just like how Mother met your father. Her mother slowly closed her eyes. Before she left, a trace of reluctance flashed through her heart. Yao Er's talent would definitely stand at the peak of the world. I hope that she won't be led astray because of her own strength. If there is such a day, I pray that there will be someone who can save Yao, like how he saved me. When she was 16 years old, the throne in the void had a new master. Little Yao, you are the most suitable candidate to inherit the wishes of the demon humans. The human race is the source of all evil. Inherit the power of our ancestors, and then destroy the human race. Repay all the pain that our demon humans have endured and experienced for generations to the human race. Endless voices echoed in little Yao Er's ears and mind. Her strength grew stronger and stronger. When she witnessed the scene of the demon humans being trampled and slaughtered by the human race, her expression became even colder. In her mind, only the wishes of her ancestors and the hatred of the demon humans were left. She wanted to repay all of this to the human race with her blood. That day, a new leader was born in the demon humans. She led the entire demon humans by herself, causing the sacred boundary to be overturned and countless planes to be destroyed, causing chaos to the entire world. Luo Yao Er's gaze became more and more blurry as she broke free from her memories and looked at the figures surrounding her. She channeled the last bit of demonic qi she had left and endured the pain, wanting to fight to the death with all the geniuses. Clang! 3 sword lights shot out. It was the 3 geniuses of the Heaven Gate who drew their swords together. The sword qi was like snow, and a sword came from the west, causing heavy snow to swirl in the air. The unholy qi in her body corroded the demonic qi, and she was unable to unleash the last bit of her strength. Luo Yao mocked herself in her heart. Why did I suddenly recall all of this? Mother, Yao still hasn't become fair to you. If I want to inherit the will of the ancestors, how can I rely on benevolence to avenge the demon humans? Perhaps this was wrong from the beginning. In this world, there is no such thing as a strong man. Rip, bang, the sword light exploded into fragments that filled the sky. Luo Yao was stunned on the spot. A tall and upright figure stood in front of Luo Yao. In her daze, she could vaguely see the domineering and awe-inspiring aura between the youth's brows. Brat, are you courting death? Where did this nameless junior come from? Do you know how many sins the demon humans have committed in the sacred boundary? You actually dare to protect her? Accompanying her is equivalent to challenging the dignity of the saint's world. Brat, you dare to challenge the sacred boundary? The 8 geniuses of the Heaven Gate glowed with sword light, and their battle auras surged, turning into a storm of sword qi that enveloped Lin Shun. Lin Shun patted the dust off his shoulders and scanned all the geniuses present. What does it have to do with me? I'm not interested in your grudges. If you touch someone that I, Lin Shun, want to protect, I'll do it regardless of the universe. Luo Yao Er's delicate body trembled slightly. Boom! The crimson gold battle spear flashed in his hand, and the 8-layer transformation and ultimate moment were fully activated. Lin Shin's body was surrounded by a dark green brilliance, and he looked like an Azura from hell. He held the spear and pointed it at all the geniuses present with a cold smile. Either you scram, or I'll beat you until you scram. Lin Shun, who had stepped into the 5th tribulation, used the 8-layer transformation, and his aura was not inferior to these super geniuses who had stepped into the 5th tribulation for 100 years. Lin Shin's words stirred up 1,000 waves. All the geniuses were enraged, and they attacked furiously. The heaven gates sword chi surged, and layers of snowy sky river sword chi slashed out to meet Lin Chen's attack. Every move was an extreme half-orange grade sword technique. The ethereal sword gates dual sword combination, and the sword split the sky. The sword came from the west, and the clouds were ethereal. The golden-robed man released the golden lightning dragon, and the dragon's tail swept in all directions. The monkey-faced man grabbed out a dark shadow claw that flashed layer by layer. The ancient heavenly demonic bear entered the bodies of the two ferocious men, and it circulated the power to move mountains and fill seas. The fist wind was like Mount Tai crashing down. I like to see how strong the top 10,000 on the genius ranking are, all of them acting so high and mighty. Endless attacks came, and Lin Chen's body shook. He slashed down with his spear, and the golden rainbow light exploded. Chapter 1075. The arrow light shot out swiftly, and the moonlight flashed by. The orange sword light was burning with anger as it slashed down vertically, dividing the void. 4 deadly saber lights were like an all-encompassing saber chi storm. In an instant, they spun and slashed out. Double dragon dance, 1 green and 1 black. Little Shadow and the Dragon Emperor attacked at the same time. Their dragon tails turned into swords and cut through the stars. Lin Chen's clone, the Dragon Emperor, and Little Shadow worked together to unleash a monstrous attack that clashed head-on with the attacks of the various geniuses. Bang, bang, bang. The earth-shattering attack turned into an energy hurricane that swept through everything. The joint attack of 20 super geniuses was broken through head-on, and some geniuses were even blasted back a short distance. Luo Yao stared blankly at the back of the figure that was still standing upright under the dazzling energy storm. She was in a bit of daze. The next moment, intense pain assaulted her. Elemental holy chi rampaged inside her body. Luo Yao, vision turned black, and she fainted again. In her daze, Luo Yao, vaguely felt a warm arm hugging her. No matter how frightening the sound was, she wasn't hurt at all. Is this a dream? If it's a dream, it's best not to wake up again. Bang, bang, bang. When Lin Chen and all his clones broke through the attacks of the super geniuses, Little Shadow opened up a path for Lin Chen. Lin Chen carried Luo Yao, and flapped his holy phoenix wings as he rushed out of the encirclement. His eyes were burning with fighting spirit. The super geniuses in the top 10,000 of the genius roll are indeed powerful, but I'm also at the 5th tribulation now. If we're at the same level, I'm not afraid of these guys at all. When Xiaotian Gate and the 4 red-haired youth were the first to stabilize themselves, their eyes were still filled with unconcealable shock. The attacks of Xiaotian Gate's 2 geniuses were torn apart, and the power penetrated their bodies. They were knocked dizzy and dropped to tribute light balls. Damn, that kid is so strong. What's his background? Although these people have just entered the 5th tribulation, every move shows signs of an orange-grade battle technique. Why have I never heard of such a person? No, he just said his name is Lin Chen. Could it be that Lin Chen, who massacred the Black Horse Club on Rainbow Island some time ago? The group of geniuses exchanged blows face-to-face and immediately saw through Lin Chen's true identity. Lin Chen's dragon flash was extremely fast, coupled with the sacred phoenix wings. He flashed out of the range of perception of the geniuses. If it wasn't for the fact that Lin Chen had to bring Luo Yao along with the dragon flash movement skill and the innate dark shadow art, Lin Chen could have easily avoided the detection range of these geniuses. Don't let him take that witch away. It'll be hard to kill him next time. The swordsman genius of Heaven Gate shouted. All of the geniuses glanced at each other and came to a tacit understanding. They had decided to use their trump cards. Boom! The 2 swordsmen from Misty Sword Sect were the first to strike. The sword in the hands of a man and a woman flew up. Sword aura surged into the sky, and a five-colored sword aura flowed. The sword aura pointed at Lin Chen's position, and the swords buzzed as they suddenly pierced forward. The two swords suddenly turned into a streak of lightning-like light in midair, sweeping up a boundless sword aura storm. The power of this move had already reached the orange grade. With two super geniuses attacking together, the power was even more shocking. Sky Demon Statue Fist. The two geniuses who had absorbed the ancient demonic bear stood proudly. Demonic aura rose above their heads, forming two magnificent demonic statues. When they punched out, their fists moved the galaxy thousands of miles away, sweeping through all directions. There were even four red-haired youths with fiery eyebrows. They stepped on flying flame dragons, and rolling flames gathered on their right arms. The four of them struck out with a claw, and their battle auras exploded. Flaming God Claw. The swirling flames formed a giant dragon claw that could burn mountains and boil seas. Chowdian Gate was even more terrifying. The sword aura dragon above their heads pierced through the void and turned into countless sword steels. They were like immemorial sword sages walking in the void, and their sword auras burst forth like a storm of pear blossoms. 100 Sages' Sword. Oblivion of sun and moon. Every sword aura that was as thin as a gossamer swept through the void, causing faint spatial fluctuations to distort. The moves of these geniuses were all orange grade. However, there was a hint of fragmentation. It was an incomplete orange grade technique. Moreover, it was barely controlled, and there were signs of it going out of control. However, no matter how weak it was still an orange grade technique. When used by the geniuses ranked 8,700 to 9,900 on the genius roll, the spirit chi within 100,000 feet was crushed into nothingness. Lin Chen was trapped in the endless attacks, and he was like a lone sail facing a monstrous wave. Lin Chen still didn't turn back. Swoosh! Shintoku Sho stood behind Lin Chen, wearing a purple robe. He looked gentle and elegant. With a confident smile on his face, he grabbed 3 peak-level 7th grade lightning elemental arrows. Zhendok Shuai and Zhen Ding each held their swords and sabers. They each had a similar smile on their faces, and they weren't afraid of the attacks at all. Shintoku Sho drew his sacred bow, Azure Imperial Thunder. Lightning coiled around the bow like silver snakes. He pulled the bowstring, and 3 arrows were released at the same time. Feel the auspicious feather from the Black Horse Club. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 3 arrows were released at once. Faint, blazing rainbows remained in the void. They were extremely beautiful, like the dazzling starlight before a beautiful meteor fell. But they were extremely dazzling, and people couldn't help but marvel at how beautiful they were. Zhendok Shuai held Optimus Prime in his hand. His anger burned like a raging fire. He slashed with his sword, and the orange sword aura's power reached an unprecedented critical level. An extremely dazzling moonlight slash flashed from the Azure Blade in Zhen Dang's hand. It was as if the dim world was illuminated by the moonlight for a split second. You overestimate yourselves. Do you think you can stop us with just these 3 people? Are the people from the Black Horse Club a bunch of brainless people? Are you looking down on us? Or are you overestimating yourselves? You're not the only one who owns the sacred artifacts and orange grade techniques. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have a little background. You're not qualified to be arrogant in front of us. Many geniuses sneered. Although the Black Horse Club's attacks were powerful, it was obviously impossible for them to fight against the orange grade techniques of all the geniuses. However, the next moment, the geniuses' pupils suddenly trembled, and they made strange gurgling noises. The next moment, the arrows suddenly trembled and turned into 15 meteor-like arrows. The slash split into 5, and the aurora became even brighter. The orange rainbow crossed the sky, and the 5 swords filled the sky. Rip, bang, bang, bang. The golem's giant fist was shot through, and the sword rays that were as thin as gossamer were cut into pieces by the sword rainbows. All the attacks were like two earth-shattering hurricanes that blew together and collided. Crack, crack, boom. A huge earthquake occurred on the ground within a 50-mile radius. The ground collapsed, and dense cracks like a spider web appeared. It was a shocking sight. At the center of the battle, a five-colored mushroom cloud rose into the sky. Many geniuses were shocked, as if they had seen a ghost. What kind of technique is this? It can actually split the attack into five? He actually managed to block all of our attacks. This isn't something that illusions and tricks can compare to. It was extremely strange. All the geniuses present were from top sects and families. They had seen a lot of things and techniques that were beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. However, even people as strong as them had never seen an orange-grade technique that could be split into 5 parts without reducing its power. All the geniuses were shocked at first, and then they were excited. They clearly saw that this technique was suitable for different types and attributes of combat techniques. Damn, if they obtained such a precious technique, wouldn't it be just a matter of time before they enter the monster ranking? Chapter 1076. This kid has a big secret on him. Kill him. Chase him. His value is far beyond that of the demonic tribe's daughter. After discovering that Lin Chun had used instant light split shadows, all the geniuses shouted excitedly, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Just as the geniuses were about to chase after him, a black shadow appeared above Lin Chen's head. All the geniuses were shocked and knew that something was wrong. It's that ghost monkey. Damn it. That bastard actually hid well before assassinating us. He's going to succeed. Activated instant light, split shadows, charged, penetrated, and heavenly invisibility runes. Consumed 68 points of high-grade, rune energy, and 50 talent points. Whoosh! The black shadow turned into a sharp stream of light and pierced towards Lin Chen's head. A ferocious face rolled out from the dark battle aura. Ha ha ha, kid, I want both your secret and the head of the demonic tribe's daughter. Lin Chen's expression was still calm. He even calmly used ultimate restoration to replenish his battle aura. Slash, 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 slash. Sword light flashed, and streaks of light fell. 20 sharp sword lights slashed towards the monkey-faced man, not giving him any time to react at all. Complete assault talent activated. Power increased by 300%. The saber light slashed at the monkey-faced man's body. The saber light slashed wildly and actually cut through the defense on his body. It turned into a rain of blood that filled the sky. A genius had fallen. This was the first time Lin Chun had killed a genius in the top 10,000 of the genius ranking. This shadow, flying dagger quadruple combo, was a hidden attack that Lin Chun had hidden with the heavenly invisibility runes. When he activated instant light split shadows, its power was at its peak. Lin Chun circulated his battle aura and formed an energy barrier to burn away the rain of blood above his head. He leaped into the air and collected the dozens of attribute light balls and storage rings that the genius had dropped after he died. Hiss! All the geniuses gasped. When did this kid have a backup plan? They didn't even see the traces of his attack. By the time they reacted, countless flying daggers had already chopped the monkey-faced man to death. Zhen Dechang's clone, who had entered a weakened state, immediately became lively again after using extreme return to origin and illusion runes to make up for it. All of a sudden, a furious, thunderous roar shook the surroundings. The airflow collapsed, and Qi disintegrated with the sound of an explosion. Brat, you dare to play tricks on me? You got guts. A gust of yellow sand tore through the sky and transformed into a storm. Sandstorms rose from all directions and swept over like dragons, attacking from the right side, behind Lin Chun. Zhao Tianquan had actually come. When they saw Zhao Tianquan charging to the side of the valley, the expressions of all the geniuses changed slightly. Lin Chen frowned. This guy had gotten rid of those old antiques so quickly, as expected of a monster ranked in the top 5,000 of the genius ranking. Zhao Tianquan, he's here too? The geniuses had apprehensive looks on their faces. Zhao Tianquan, who had long entered the top 5,000, was terrifyingly strong. These people had ulterior motives. They couldn't work together. If they fought alone, they would definitely be defeated by Zhao Tianquan one by one. This guy's pretty fast. If I don't shake him off, I won't be able to fight him. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Seeing that little shadow was about to pounce on him, Lin Chen stopped him and let his clones and little shadow act separately. 9-colored starlight gathered in his palm like a vortex, and the corners of Lin Chen's lips curled up slightly. Zhao Tianquan was different from the 20 super geniuses. The former was at least 3 levels stronger than them. Zhao Tianquan's previous casual attack had forced Lin Chen and all his clones to unleash their orange tier talents and go all out to receive it. To stop such a strong enemy, Lin Chen had to bring out some trump cards. Young Master Zhao, right? Try this. Lin Chen laughed heartily. With a swing of his hand, the 9 Tribulations star revolved with destructive starlight. Its dazzling and translucent brilliance shone with 9 colors and turned into a polar star that fell toward Zhao Tianquan. Buzz! The 9 Tribulations star trembled and instantly split into 5. Then, 5 scattered 9-colored stars shot out. The expressions of all the geniuses changed slightly. Even someone as strong as Zhao Tianquan couldn't help but change slightly. What a strange attack. Dragon fights the universe. Break for me. Zhao Tianquan grabbed with his palm, and his battle aura formed a yellow dragon that filled the sky. A sandstorm wreaked havoc, and the rolling dust turned into a giant dragon that soared into the sky. The 9-colored star exploded, and a 9-colored pillar of light rose and spun continuously. The 20 super geniuses gathered their strength and unleashed their strongest attacks on Lin Chen's 9 Tribulation star. 5 9-colored pillars of light spun, exuding a destructive aura, and sealed off everyone's path forward. Lin Chen took the opportunity to retreat rapidly and snatch the attribute light balls dropped by the injured geniuses. With Zhao Tianquan holding the line, he couldn't kill all the super geniuses. Whoosh! A yellow dragon tore through one of the 9-colored pillars of light. It was Zhao Tianquan. Zhao Tianquan was wearing an earthen yellow battle aura armor that was indestructible. It dissolved all attacks and energy shock waves, and he almost walked out of the 9-colored pillar of light. He actually tore through the shock waves of Lin Chen's 9 Tribulation star by force. His strength was so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. Even the other super geniuses couldn't do it, let alone take this risk. The 9-colored pillar of light was enhanced by Lin Chen's charge and penetration rune, and it was extremely destructive. Zhao Tianquan was so angry that he laughed. Don't think you can escape from me. He stepped on a hidden dragon, and his speed was extremely fast. He charged all the way to the space 10,000 feet behind Lin Chen. A sandstorm tornado spun out from his palm. Zhao Tianquan was about to launch another attack when suddenly Lin Chen and Luo Yao turned into a streak of light, disappearing into the void. What? Zhao Tianquan was stunned and dumbfounded. Whoosh! Space flashed, and Lin Chen's superdimensional transfer jumped to the position of the Jundok Shui clone. He let the clones act separately just now to keep a backup plan. This bastard surnamed Zhao is really terrifying. If I go all out and compete with him in speed, I might not be his match. The boost from a complete low-grade odd crystal is really terrifying. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. His speed was unrivaled outside the top 10,000 of the genius list. There was actually a possibility of losing here. Zhao Tianquan was born with the Myriad Mountains demon tribulation physique, and he had extraordinary control and talent for Earth Spirit Chi. This physique could borrow the power of the Earth to fight for him, and his strength was multiplied. He also cultivated his Zhao family's 4 elements dragon spirit art, which was a top-notch half-orange mental cultivation method that was almost tailor-made for Zhao Tianquan. In addition, he had a 5th-grade sacred bloodline, and his talent was heaven-defying. It was said that when he was young, he only took a month to cultivate a purple-grade earth cultivation method. His talent was close to monstrous. What was even more terrifying was that he had refined a complete low-grade odd crystal. As long as he activated the power of the odd crystal, even if it was a war emperor, he would be able to split mountains and shatter mountains with a slight attack. It had the power to sink a small plane. In the situation just now, only Little Shadow could fight with Zhao Tianquan alone. Sure enough, the higher one's ranking on the genius list, the more terrifying their strength is. These guys are all freakishly talented. Before we find the location where Battle Sage Atlas died, I can't use my killing moves and slowing runes. I'd rather deal with these guys than give up on my only trump card. Lin Shen exhaled deeply, and a strange light flashed in his eyes. His eyes were sharp. Chapter 1077. Lin Shen had to admit that even though he was a 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor, it would be difficult for him to confront the top 5,000 geniuses without the help of the delaying rune. If he used the God's Tear, he didn't have enough confidence to suppress Zhao Tianquan. He had the God's Tear, but so did his opponent. This was his current limit. If he wanted to move forward, he would have to have more trump cards. After breaking through to the 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor, Lin Shen could barely use the God's Tear, but he could only use it once. This kind of saber art consumed too much of his battle chi and meridians. If he wasn't careful, his meridians would be destroyed. The sacred Burying Mountain range was different from the outside world. If he used the war god bracers here, Lin Shen's chances of survival would be 0. There were so many geniuses here, and danger lurked everywhere. If he was completely exhausted, there was no chance of survival. There's only one way to use the war god bracers. It's either in a life or death situation, or to ensure that no other geniuses appear after using it. I can use the bracers to suppress all the geniuses I face. A ferocious look flashed across Lin Shen's eyes. For the Tai Futian script, he was almost putting his life on the line. If Lin Shen entered the sacred Burying Mountain range alone, it wouldn't be a problem to avoid these geniuses. He could use the innate dark shadow art to conceal his aura, and he would be like a fish in water in the sacred Burying Mountain range. But now, he had to take this female demon with him. Once he went anywhere, he would become the target of public criticism. Lin Shen found a cave. Little Shadow and the Dragon Emperor hid outside the mountain to protect him. Secondly, Lin Shen sent all his doppelgangers to use the innate dark shadow art to conceal their auras and continue searching the inner circle of the mountain range. His main purpose was to find clues about the Sky Prime Battle Sage. After advancing to the 5th Tribulation Battle Emperor, my doppelgangers and I are capable of fighting geniuses around the 8,000 rank. If we use the Instant Light doppelganger, we should be able to fight against geniuses around the 6,000 rank. But it's still not enough to face Zhao Tianquan, the sacred Burying Mountain range. If I'm not careful, this will be my burial ground. Lin Shen sighed. Those who came here were either geniuses at the pinnacle of the sacred boundary or a group of desperate old monsters who were trapped below the saint boundary and were about to die of old age. Following this, Lin Shen did not act rashly. He was now carrying a ticking time bomb, and he could not put her into the peach blossom plant pouch. Unless he had the ability to fight against many geniuses alone or escape from a large number of super geniuses, he would die if he showed his face. Lin Shen discovered that although the female devil cultivator was still unconscious, the holy chi in her body had gradually dissipated and was offset by more than half by her devil chi and Lin Shen's 9 yang life-returning pill. You can give her some medicinal pills to treat her injuries. Lin Shen crushed a dozen long Qingguo, a glazed Bodhi seed, and a first-grade healing holy pill, the beginning creation pill, which he had obtained from the Rainbow Island, and generously fed it to her. Without a large amount of 9 holy chi, Lin Shun could clearly detect the injuries in her body. What a serious injury. Her meridians are broken, her bones are shattered, and even her internal organs are ruptured. There are also internal injuries in her flesh that were pierced by the sharp sword Qi. Lin Shun was shocked. There was no mistaking this injury. It was exactly the same as the little fairies. It was an internal injury caused by Lin Xingchen's swordsmanship, and it was extremely terrifying. Back then, it was because the little fairy's cultivation was profound that she was able to avoid most of the damage caused by the sword Qi. If it was an ordinary saint, even if they were not killed in an instant, they would have been tortured to death by the sword Qi. Could it be that she fought with Lin Xingchen before? Or perhaps she fought with someone related to Lin Xingchen. That guy is as strong as a monster, and he is still severely injured. Could it be that she was the one who injured him? Many thoughts flashed through Lin Chen's mind, but he did not have time to think too much. He channeled a large amount of water calamity battle Qi to help her catalyze the energy in her body. The sage elixir, Bodhi seed, and Long Qingwo started to heal her injuries at a stable rate. The Long Qingwo nourished her flesh, the Bodhi seed healed her injured internal organs, and the Origin Creation elixir healed her broken bones. These healing elixirs were all gentle in energy and would not harm a host. Lin Shun used all his resources to heal her injuries within the limits of her body's tolerance. Every time he saw the beautiful face under the cloak, Lin Chen's heart would beat faster, and he could not help but laugh bitterly. "My dear lady, please don't die. If you die, I can only use the stupidest way to enter the sage prison. To think that I, Lin Xingchen, have lived a handsome life and traveled the world, but in the end, I have to enter the sage prison by being imprisoned. That would be too ridiculous." After settling the black-robed woman down, Lin Shen sat cross-legged and fell into deep thought. Should I leave her here and send a doppelganger to protect her? No. The geniuses who entered the sacred burial mountain range this time have extraordinary means. A few geniuses who are good at exploration or perception will be able to find her. At that time, my doppelganger may not be able to protect her, and I may not be able to rush back in time. Lin Shen thought for a long time, but could not find a good way. In the end, his strength was still too weak, and any method he used was limited. If it was just to take her away, Lin Shun was completely capable of doing it. However, Lin Shen also had to find the remnant scroll of the Tai Futian mantra, which made it difficult for him, who had always been full of ideas. A fifth tribulation cultivation is not enough. What other ways do I have to quickly increase my strength to increase my elemental attribute? Now that I'm a fifth tribulation cultivator, even super geniuses can only drop a limited amount of elemental attribute points. Directly decomposing 8th grade medicinal herbs to obtain elemental attribute points is something that can only be found by chance. Lin Shen rummaged through the storage ring of the monkey-faced man who had died under the vanishing shadow flying dagger. There were cultivation methods and some pills, but he did not find anything useful at the moment. Cultivation methods? I only have half an orange grade cultivation method, which is not very useful. Should I use strengthening points? I want to be strong, but how can I be strong? I haven't cultivated God's tier to perfection, so I can't move. Right now, all my main combat skills have been strengthened to plus 15. Do I really have to rely on slowing runes and killing moves? Just as Lin Shun was pondering in distress, Zhao Tianquan's figure suddenly flashed through his mind. A thought struck Lin Shun like a bolt of lightning. He instantly froze in place, as if he had been struck by lightning. In the next moment, Lin Shun flipped over his storage ring, and an exquisite jade box appeared in his palm. Inside the jade box, there was a dazzling jade that was as dazzling as a blazing star. It was extremely beautiful and breathtaking. The dazzling aurora illuminated the entire cave and almost blinded Lin Chen's handsome eyes. The jade in this jade box was the only complete low-grade odd crystal that Lin Chen possessed at the moment, a light-type odd crystal. As for the embryonic odd crystal that was being cultivated, it would still take some time for it to be born. Lin Chen's heart was beating with passion and excitement. Perhaps it was time. Take the most important step, the moment to control the odd crystal. Chapter 1078. Lin Chen clearly felt the power of a low-grade odd crystal from the day he fought with the false god to the day he met Zhao Tianquan. After coming to the sacred boundary, he only obtained odd crystal fragments that were equivalent to 1,000th or 1,000th of an odd crystal's power. He had never dared to refine the odd crystal he obtained from the ancient god. The reason was very simple. Its energy was like the abyss, the sea, and the world. That Zhao Tianquan refined the low-grade odd crystal without the help of a powerful sage. In addition, his physique made me feel suffocated by the pressure of the entire earth. It could be said that the right time, place, and people were all in order to control a low-grade odd crystal. Although I don't have the help of a sage, my ninth calamity battle body naturally has the effect of restraining and assimilating odd crystals of the same attribute. Lin Chen's eyes burst out with a resolute light. I have no choice now. Time waits for no one. My elemental attribute values and cultivation have changed dramatically compared to when I first met the ancient god. I might have a chance. Moreover, if I really can't do it in the end, I will use the system's decomposition function to decompose it into special attribute values. Compared to other powerhouses who are at their wits' end, I still have a way out. It's right to do it. Now that he was a 5th calamity cultivator, he was no longer as weak as the 9th level combat emperor when facing odd crystals. Now, he had the strength and foundation to try to tame and control this power. Suddenly, Lin Chen opened the jade box, and the clear and exquisite light attribute odd crystal quickly entered his palm. He instantly activated the 9 calamities of creation mental cultivation method and began to refine it. The light in his palm shone brightly. Lin Chen felt as if he was holding a star in his hand. As if he was plucking a star, Lin Chen injected all his battle chi into the light calamity battle body, and his entire body blazed with light. The light attribute odd crystal melted like milk and gradually sank into Lin Chen's palm, following Lin Chen's arm. Thousands of rays of light gushed out from the top of Lin Chen's head like a divine light shining on the world, pouring a huge amount of light attribute energy into every meridian in Lin Chen's body. The host has received 99 points of advanced light energy, 101 points of light energy, 94 points of light energy. Lin Chen's light energy skyrocketed. As expected, my light calamity battle body can assimilate the ability of odd crystals. Before Lin Chen could be happy for even a second, he immediately vomited blood. The terrifying, majestic energy flowed into his body. Even though Lin Chen's elemental attribute had skyrocketed and his 9-color fate, will was no longer what it used to be, facing the energy of this light-type odd crystal, it was still like the difference between a young rabbit and a giant bear. At this rate, it was only a matter of time before Lin Chen exploded from the energy of the odd crystal. Heavens, what terrifying energy! No wonder that bastard Zhao Tianquan was so strong. Let's go all out. I'll leave a clone outside and gather the power of the clones to refine it together. I don't believe that I can't suppress this odd crystal. Lin Chen gritted his teeth and activated the 8-layer transformation. When the ultimate moment was activated, the efficiency of refining the odd crystal greatly increased, but it was still a drop in the bucket. Every complete low-grade odd crystal was born in the area with the densest concentration of all kinds of energy in the world. After countless eras of compression, condensation, and formation, it had absorbed an unknown amount of energy. If it wasn't for Lin Chen's light calamity battle body that had the effect of assimilating and restraining light-type odd crystals, ordinary geniuses who refined a complete odd crystal alone would explode and die within a few breaths. Lin Chen quickly absorbed the endless light-type energy. Fortunately, his 4 clones were teleported back. All the clones entered the ultimate moment state, and the efficiency of refining doubled. The 4 clones and the main body used the mental cultivation method to refine the odd crystal together. It was seamless, as if they were one. Finally, Lin Chen's efficiency of refining the light-type odd crystal stabilized slightly, but his injuries were getting worse. Even if Lin Chen hurriedly took the glazed Bodhi seed and Long Qingguo, the rapid recovery of his injuries was constantly accumulating new internal injuries. However, although the price was heavy, Lin Chen's advanced light-type energy soared in a straight line. This was the fastest increase in Lin Chen's elemental attribute after he converted it to the advanced level. Decomposing Grade 8 medicinal herbs, Grade 8 rare ores, robbing the Chen family. They were all trash in front of this surge. Lin Chen's advanced light-type energy broke through from 4,659 points to 10,000 points in the blink of an eye. It didn't stop. The advanced light-type energy was still surging. It only took half an hour to break through 15,000 points. On the other side, Zhao Tianquan was played by Lin Chen time and time again, and he flew into a rage out of humiliation. His appearance was no longer as frivolous and lazy as when he first entered the sacred burial mountain range. Instead, it was replaced by a serious and fierce expression. So those guys are the Black Horse Club, and the one who played me is the famous Lin Chen. Interesting. Zhao Tianquan, want to see where you can hide today? Zhao Tianquan's mouth curled into a cold smile. He landed on the ground, bent down, and placed his palm on the ground. The earth-type odd crystal on his right arm flowed and shone with a yellow light. At this moment, all the energy fluctuations in the nearby area, the movement of the grass and the wind, the flowers and trees were clearly detected through his earth-type odd crystal. Lin Chen's only clone, Jundak Shui, suddenly narrowed his eyes. Between the towering peaks ahead, there were a large number of attribute light balls flickering. That direction is close to the core area. Jundak Shui sensed a suffocating sense of oppression from the center of the peaks. Geniuses and experts had gathered. Buzz. Suddenly, a sense of crisis gripped Jundak Shui. A pair of green and yellow pupils emerged in Jundak Shui's mind, and he said in surprise, "My goodness, is that Zhao Tianquan? He can still sense me from so far away." Jundak Shui grinned, used Dragon Flash, and rushed toward the center of the attribute light ball. Sacred Burial Mountain Range, east of the Western Sky battlefield. The mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. In the center of the peaks was a group of skeletons as tall as mountains. They were all the skeletons of holy beasts. Here, a chaotic battle between saints and holy beasts broke out. In the Western Sky battlefield, all the remains of saints and ferocious beasts were in the energy enchantment, and the brilliance of the enchantment was gradually fading. More than 70,000 feet in the air, a thick poisonous miasma shrouded and permeated. If there were saints here, they might be able to find some abnormalities. Inside the poisonous miasma, there were actually 4 cage-like ancient arrays. These ancient arrays were either like a 4-sided prison, a pair of huge shackles, or an ancient array of heavenly spirits and earthly fiends. They were vague and ancient, permeating with an ancient aura hidden in the miasma. The slightly overflowing energy in the ancient arrays was enough to prove that these arrays could be activated at any time. These ancient arrays were the main reason why a large number of saints and holy beasts had fallen back then. What was even more strange and eerie was that behind the ancient arrays was a strange giant bronze coffin. Below and around, a group of figures floated in the air. Some were cold and ruthless, some were dignified, some were charming, and some were in control of the universe. Geniuses were gathered. The geniuses stared fervently at the situation inside the energy enchantment. Among the remains of the saints, some of them wore high-grade storage rings on their finger bones. Saint treasures, a complete saint's legacy. The most important thing was that none of the saints who entered this place back then were ordinary saints. They were all masters of the saint realm. The lowest was the third level of the saint realm, the level with 21 saint points or more. Among the 57 saint remains, 45 of them wore storage rings and became the target of all the geniuses present. It could be seen that a total of 57 saints had fallen here. Counting the scattered, ferocious bee skeletons, no one could imagine what kind of terrible war had broken out here back then. Chapter 1079. As for the old Fifth Tribulation Battle Emperors, their target was the remains of the saints. They wanted to obtain the energy in the bone marrow and use other methods to break through to the saint realm. Some saint realm experts were still wearing their saint armors and battle helmets, standing tall and strong. If they could get their hands on a storage ring, they would be able to obtain the wealth of the saints. This was a fatal temptation for all the geniuses present. A young man in linen clothes looked ordinary, but his eyes were as bright as stars. He frowned and said, "This energy barrier is the product of the saint's Saint Chi after his death. It's hard to break it open if we attack it with brute force." The beautiful woman in a red robe beside him chuckled. Everyone is conserving their strength. No one wants to be the one to break the energy barrier. I estimate that in another 3 days, the energy barrier here will collapse on its own. Rumble. Suddenly, an attack broke into the battlefield. Zhao Tianquan was standing on a sand dragon. His fingers were as fast as a gust of wind and lightning. Then, he shot out a sandstorm toward a young man. The eyes of all the geniuses turned to look at him, and they were slightly surprised. Is that Zhao Tianquan? The young man he's chasing has a strange movement technique. While the geniuses were surprised, Jundok Shuai's eyes fell on the remains of the saints in the energy barrier. He looked excited. Is this the location near the core of the sacred burying mountain range? The Heaven Prime Battle Sage is probably one of the remains of the fallen saints. The more Jundok Shuai looked at the remains, the more shocked he became. Beside the remains of the saints and the skeletons of the saint beasts, there were thousands of elemental light balls. In the center, there were 3 5-colored light balls. There were 52 orange light balls. There were 3 5-colored supreme treasure chests and 52 orange crystal treasure chests. Ridiculous. This is F** King Ridiculous. He had never seen so many elemental light balls and elemental treasure chests. He was going to make a huge fortune. However, in the next moment, Jundok Shuai's pupils trembled. He could clearly see a golden light beam rising from the core of the sacred burying mountain range. This golden light beam was the light of the elemental light balls. Only Lin Chen's clone could see it. Behind Jundok Shuai, Zhao Tianquan was even more alarmed. Just now, when he was chasing after this kid, the kid's speed actually increased. In the end, even he felt a little exhausted. Could it be that this guy's movement technique is the best in the Black Horse Club? My 1000 Sand Berserk Dragon movement technique is actually unable to catch up to him? Zhao Tianquan's killing intent skyrocketed. Jundok Shuai smiled when he saw Zhao Tianquan charging at him. Superdimensional teleportation talent has successfully established a spatial coordinate. The spatial location is the 5th spatial coordinate. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, when the Jundok Shuai was about to be forced to the edge of the energy barrier by Zhao Tianquan, the Jundok Shuai snapped his fingers coquettishly. Our most handsome Director Lin of the Sacred Boundary hasn't arrived yet. Young Master Zhao, I'll play with you next time. Jundok Shuai smiled coquettishly and turned into a beam of spatial light, disappearing in an instant. The eyes of all the geniuses trembled, and their expressions were very interesting. Spatial travel? What is this kid's background? Even saints have a hard time tearing through the void in the sacred burial mountain range. How'd he do it? Zhao Tianquan's expression was gloomy, and he restrained himself. His gaze fell on the saint's remains in the energy barrier, and his heart calmed down. Forget it. Let's get the treasure first, then we'll kill these bastards from the Black Horse Club later. Jundok Shui teleported back to Lin Shen's side and joined the cultivation camp. 2 days later, rumble. The cave was on the verge of collapse. An array of white light illuminated the sky. Lin Shen opened his eyes, and two auroras shot out from his pupils, piercing through the solid stone wall in the cave. The terrifying thing was that the space where the auroras passed through was actually somewhat distorted. Lin Shen was bathed in blood, and after paying the price of serious injuries, he completely absorbed this low-grade light attribute odd crystal. Light wheel odd crystal. He panted and kept using extreme origin restoration to recover his injuries, and looked at his right arm excitedly. Lin Shen's right arm flashed with a gem that was as bright as a polar star. Every time it flashed, it emitted a wave-like brilliance. That was his light wheel odd crystal. I, Lin Shen, have finally controlled an odd crystal. Ha ha. Lin Shen was so excited that he threw his head back and laughed maniacally. He couldn't suppress the ecstasy in his heart and opened the system. Heaven Path Attribute Picking System version 6. 0 Host. Lin Shen. Cultivation. 5th Calamity Combat Emperor. Advanced Essence. 9. 88 million points limit strength. 99. 99 million dragon power. Advanced Blood. 8. 16 million points advanced spirit attribute. 11,646 points. Half-step saint. Advanced cultivation technique essence. 12,771 points. Advanced rune energy. 10,051 points. Intermediate heaven path. 11,066 points. Intermediate talent points. 10,212 points. Blank attribute. 3. 44 million points. Strengthening points. 8. 94 million points. Advanced elemental energy. Fire 6604 points. Earth 6150 points. Wood 6200 points. Metal 6366 points. Water 6488 points. Lightning 6100 points. Wind 641 points. Light 6766 points. Dark 5880 points. Cultivation technique status column, open or not. Bloodline status column, open or not. Passive talent column. Green rank, dual cultivation acacia. Purple rank, assault. Purple rank, tear. Orange rank, extreme god possession fragment. 2/4, active talent column. Purple rank, steel omen. Purple rank, fatal bloodthirst. Purple rank, superdimensional teleportation. Purple rank, ultimate moment. Purple rank, extreme origin restoration. Purple rank, sovereign's descent. Quasi-orange rank, absolute life and death. Orange rank, instant light split shadows. Orange rank one time. Heaven defying, 1/2 fragment. Killing technique column, open or not. Characteristic rune column, open or not. Talent combination technique, open or not. Lin Shen was stunned. He was like a fool who had picked up a treasure. His teeth were chattering as he stood there in a daze. This advanced light attribute energy was F*King ridiculous. What a powerful force. Even if I only use the light calamity battle body to throw a punch, the lethality is no less than a half orange rank combat skill that I used with all my strength. If I use my pure strength to unleash a light attribute combat skill, that would be awesome. Lin Shen's scalp went numb. Just by refining the wheel light odd crystal, Lin Shen's advanced light attribute energy had increased by more than 60,000 points. And this was just the basic growth brought by the low-grade odd crystal. In addition, when Lin Shen used his light calamity battle chi to activate the wheel light odd crystal, his light calamity battle chi would be accompanied by a wheel of blazing light. This was the unique energy of the low-grade odd crystal, also known as the power of the odd crystal. After truly controlling the odd crystal, Lin Shen was almost certain that he wouldn't be able to defeat Zhao Tianquan without the slowing rune and his killing technique. Previously, Zhao Tianquan didn't even use the power of the odd crystal. He relied on his own foundation and the basic growth brought by refining the odd crystal to crush Lin Shen. No wonder the value of the odd crystal fragments can't be compared to a complete odd crystal. No matter how high the quality of the broken odd crystal fragments is, the purity of the energy is less than 1% of a complete odd crystal. It's nothing more than the size of complete odd crystal on the outside. Lin Shen estimated that as long as he used the power of the will light odd crystal in his right arm to unleash combat skills, the power would far surpass his previous self. However, activating the power of the odd crystal consumed a lot of energy. If he wanted to use the power of the odd crystal frequently, he had to support it with his holy qi. Lin Shen estimated that he could only activate the power of the odd crystal twice before using up 90% of his battle qi. Lin Shen's battle qi was no longer the same as before, and the recovery speed of ultimate return also needed time. He couldn't afford to use the power of the odd crystal. Combat skills that were supported by the power of the odd crystal would have a temporary surge in power. Lin Shen's doppelganger could also use the power of the odd crystal, but the consumption of battle qi was also extremely high. Basically, the doppelganger would lose its ability to fight temporarily after using it twice. Among the combat skills that I have mastered, the Lucky Feather Arrow Technique and Dragon Flash Technique are light attribute combat skills. If I switch to light attribute combat skills, the original power will be reduced. Lin Shen clenched his fists excitedly. But no matter how much it reduces, a combat skill with more than 60,000 points of advanced light attribute energy will far surpass the power of other combat skills with only a few thousand points of elemental attribute value. In less than 3 days, Lin Shen had undergone a heaven-defying transformation, and his strength had soared by several levels. He made the right bet. He paid the price of being seriously injured in exchange for the power to control a low-grade odd crystal. Lin Shen wasn't like other geniuses. His growth rate was extremely ridiculous. He had the Phantom Rune and the Instant Light Split Shadow talent. This wheel light odd crystal increased his strength by more than just a little. Everything would be known once he entered actual combat. Chapter 1080. If I meet Zhao Tianquan again, I can probably torture him until he calls me father. Lin Shen's brows revealed a domineering aura that looked down on the world. He stuffed 10 long qingguo into his mouth, chewed them up, and swallowed a glazed bodhi seed. The injuries in his body were recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. Being able to control an odd crystal with a fifth tribulation cultivation, compared to some human prodigies, he's not inferior. At this moment, in a water tribulation energy barrier in the cave, the black-robed beauty said weakly. Lin Shen was shocked and quickly turned his head, walking to her and squatting down. "You're awake?" Luo Yao turned her head away and didn't look at Lin Shen's face. She said expressionlessly, "I woke up half a day ago. Why did you save me? Aren't you afraid that I'll take you away by force?" Lin Shen was taken aback and scratched his head. "Well, are you still thinking about me? Although I'm handsome and you're beautiful, we're obviously not on the same path. Oh my God, why did you kick me?" Although there was a cloak and veil between them, Lin Shen could still feel Luo Yao's cold gaze. Her face was probably as cold as frost at this moment. Luo Yao said coldly, "Yes, we're not on the same path. If you don't surrender to me, I'll kill you sooner or later. If you don't want to regret it, it's best to kill me now. This is your only chance." Luo Yao stared at Lin Shen, who suddenly felt a sense of oppression enveloping him. It was as if he wasn't facing a person, but a world pressing down on his head. He could feel that this woman wasn't joking. She would really kill him. A ray of light flashed across the demonic seal in Lin Shen's palm and disappeared. Lin Shen sighed. "I still won't surrender to you, but I don't want to kill you either. Can't we just sit down and talk? Do you have to be so ruthless?" At this time, Lin Shen didn't know that if he really wanted to kill her, even if it was only for a moment, Lin Shen would be in trouble. Luo Yao said indifferently, "There's no chance to talk. I entered the human race in order to find the prophesied heaven's chosen child of the human race. As long as there is a human who matches the prophecy, I won't let him go. Either he surrenders to my race or he dies. Lin Chen frowned. I don't know what prophecy you're talking about, but I can tell you that no one has ever seen through my destiny. The prophecy you're talking about is definitely not me. Luo Yao was expressionless. Who knows? After saying that, she stood up with difficulty. Her loose black robe was unable to completely conceal her exquisite figure. She had just walked a dozen steps out of the cave when she kicked a stone. Her swaying body fell down. Lin Chen supported her. The delicate fragrance of the beauty lingered in his nose. He said helplessly, "Your injuries haven't completely healed yet. The Yin Holy Qi has just disappeared. Your injuries still have a lot of problems." Luo Yao said indifferently. "Then I don't need a guy like you to care about me." Lin Chen was stunned. This woman was still stubborn with him? But we're in the same boat now. I can't just leave you alone, can I? Lin Chen's biggest shortcoming is that I respect the old and love the young. I'm always willing to help others. Alas, this shortcoming has to be fixed in the future. It has to be fixed. The relationship between the two was now so tense that Lin Chen didn't dare to directly ask about the holy prison. This woman was obviously the type who could be persuaded by reason but not cowed by force. If Lin Chen threatened her, he was afraid that he would end up in mutual destruction. However, he wasn't afraid of this. She could be persuaded by reason but not cowed by force. As long as it's a woman, I don't believe that Lin Chen, can't handle her. In the end, I'll make you suffer both by force and persuasion. Luo Yao said disdainfully. Are you coaxing a child? Don't think that I don't know what you're up to. Damn, how could she see through this? Lin Chen nodded seriously without blushing and said, You can even see through this. Yes, I admit that I'm lusting after your body. I'm that honest. Luo Yao looked deeply at Lin Chen. She stretched out her jade-like arm and put on Lin Chen's shoulder. She said indifferently, I know where you want to go. Before I recover my strength, you can't die. Lin Chen was stunned. You can recover your strength? Luo Yao threw a meaningful sentence at him. It depends on your performance. What the hell? Whether you can recover your strength or not depends on my performance. Could it be that being handsome can also help others recover their strength? Could it be that she wants to do that with me? Legend has it that certain cultivation methods could allow one to heal and cultivate while doing that kind of thing. Thinking of this, Lin Chen pulled open his collar in grief and indignation. He shouted with a look that said, If I don't go to hell, who will go to hell? Since that's the case, then come. Don't take pity on me because I'm handsome. I'm a member of the Black Horse Club, so I can withstand the torment. Luo Yao raised her hand and punched his handsome face. His nose had almost been smashed off. Lin Chen covered his nose. Why did you hit me? I don't like this. I told you to carry me. Why are you undressing? Luo Yao gnashed her teeth in anger. If it weren't for his performance that day, she would have turned Lin Chen into a puppet right now. Lin Chen was startled and smiled coquettishly. Oh, so you want to be behind me. Burial Mountain Range, Western Heaven's ancient battlefield. More than 2,000 geniuses gathered in the sky within a radius of hundreds of miles. Including some old battle emperors outside the energy barrier, there were more than 4,000 people present. Whoosh! A spatial light beam suddenly descended. This spatial light attracted everyone's attention. Someone could actually travel through the void in the sacred Burial Mountain Range. Who is it? Fortunately, I'm not late. There's still a chance. Lin Chen chuckled. Luo Yao's graceful figure appeared in the air. When he descended, Lin Chen's shoulders shook and all his clones appeared. The Dragon Emperor and Little Shadow protected him on his left and right. Lin Chen, this bastard can actually travel through the void? What kind of freaks are the people of the Black Horse Club? The 19 super geniuses who had encircled Lin Chen before had solemn expressions. Demon Race's bastard? I didn't expect that she would dare to appear in front of us so openly. No, it's not her who appeared in front of us. It's that kid who brought her here. Oh, so that's the legendary Black Horse Club? I just received news that he has a secret technique that can temporarily step into the saint realm and kill 14 saints. At the moment when the energy barrier was about to disappear, Lin Chen's arrival attracted almost everyone's attention. When they saw the female demon race behind Lin Chen, most of the geniuses had some killing intent and greed in their hearts. However, most of the geniuses were as smart as ghosts. Whether or not they had heard of Lin Chen's record of slaughtering saints, no one took the lead. When Zhao Tianquan saw the Jundak Shui beside Lin Chen, he was so angry that he struck out with his palm. Boom! Hundreds of millions of tons of yellow sand rolled up a sandstorm, and like a spinning sand dragon, it rushed toward Lin Chen and the others. Many of the geniuses raised their eyebrows. Zhao Tianquan's hatred for the Black Horse Club was not just a little bit. The next moment, the Jundak Shui smiled faintly, stretched out his palm, and gently clenched it. A white light rotated in his palm, overflowing with a wheel-like brilliance, instantly enveloping the battle aura sand dragon. Bang! The sand dragon exploded, and hundreds of millions of tons of yellow sand formed by the vigorous battle aura exploded, and yellow sand poured down from the sky. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All the handsome guys in the Black Horse Club opened an oil paper umbrella, looking very coquettish. Chapter 1081. Zhao Tianquan's pupils quivered. He actually took my attack with one hand. There was a world of difference between his current strength and his previous strength. The super geniuses who had besieged Lin Chen stared at Lin Chen in horror, as if they had seen a ghost. How? How is this possible? They had to use the killing technique of splitting in at 5 to block Zhao Tianquan's attack. Now, they only used one hand. Although Zhao Tianquan didn't show much of his strength, the growth rate of the Black Horse Club's members is ridiculous. The disciples of the Ethereal Sword sect were especially shocked. They swallowed their saliva with difficulty. When they first met Lin Chen, the members of the Black Horse Club were only 4th Tribulation Combat Emperors. How long has it been since they entered the 5th Calamity Battle Emperor realm? And now, he had taken Zhao Tianquan's attack with one hand. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with all the members of the Black Horse Club. The disciples of the Ethereal Sword sect were shocked. It was reasonable for one person to have a fortuitous encounter and break through. But how many people broke through at the same time? How could there be such a coincidence in the world? Jundak Shui raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Isn't this young Master Zhao? What's wrong? Are you a sore loser? Or do you think that the members of the Black Horse Club are more handsome than you? Jundak Shui's move shocked the crowd. The geniuses were shocked. What a pure light elemental battle chi. What cultivation method is he practicing? Interesting. I want to meet him more and more. Some of the geniuses were eager to try. A red-robed woman stood in the sky on the south side with a sword on her back. Her cold eyes flashed with doubt and curiosity. He is Lin Chen. What is he thinking? He actually wants to protect that demonic race and even brought him here in front of everyone. I can't see through him. If he is surrounded and attacked by everyone, how can he block these geniuses? Lin Chen was calm. As expected, none of the geniuses present dared to touch him. With the saint's treasure in front of them, everyone's target was the saint's remains. Besieging him at this time would only allow others to be the fishermen. The most important thing was the deterrence brought by strength. You're being watched. Be careful. The beauty whispered into his ear. Lin Chen's ears softened, and his whole body shivered. Once again, he controlled his gun to the limit. F***CK, this is killing me. 13 miles to the west, there's a guy wearing a ghost mask. His killing intent towards you is stronger than anyone else's, and he's coming for you, not me. Although Luo Yao was seriously injured and unable to move, her experience far surpassed everyone present. Lin Chen followed Luo Yao's line of sight and discovered that the other party was also staring at him. He was dressed in a gray robe and wore a ferocious ghost mask that was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. This guy gives me a dangerous feeling. Sensing Lin Chen's gaze, the ghost-masked, gray-robed man retracted his gaze. Lin Chen actually couldn't feel his aura and killing intent at all, as if he had never existed in that space. Suddenly, Lin Chen's expression changed slightly, and his mind became excited. Shintoku Sho took out a golden armor fragment. The fragment flickered with a faint golden light, and it reacted for the first time. That's right, it's here. The remains of the Heaven Atlas Battle Sage were here. Following the fragments of the golden armor, Lin Chun found the remains of a golden-colored, incomplete armor. Its bony finger was wearing a high-grade storage ring. That's the former master of Miss Xiaomeng's mother. The remains of the Heaven Atlas Battle Sage. Lin Chen's eyes flashed with a bright light. Tai Futian Mantra, the third fragment. Whether or not he could cultivate an orange-level mental cultivation method, success or failure depended on this. This time, whoever blocks me will die. From the 9 prefectures to the sacred boundary, I've finally found it. Lin Chen's brows surged with an uncontrollable battle intent. Luo Yao, who was under the cloak, suddenly felt a little puzzled. Why was his battle intent suddenly surging? Buzz, buzz, buzz. At this moment, the energy barrier started to fluctuate with sacred light, and it started to dissipate gradually and become transparent. Rumble. All the geniuses and ancient battle emperors were ready to attack. They quietly circulated their battle auras. Hold on to me tightly later. I want to get rid of most of them first. Lin Chen's words were shocking, and even Luo Yao revealed a hint of surprise. Get rid of most of them? Lin Chen didn't have the strength to do that. What was he trying to do? There were more than 2,000 geniuses present, and many of them were in the top 5,000. Even a first-stage sage wouldn't be able to stop most of them. Lin Chen unfolded the sacred phoenix wings behind his back, and the beautiful purple-red wings flapped with the sound of the wind. Lin Chen and his clones' battle auras erupted, and the 8 transformations and the ultimate moment were activated. His light calamity battle aura had greatly increased due to the doubling effect of the ultimate moment. Luo Yao didn't have time to think, and the energy barrier suddenly disappeared. At this moment, Lin Chen held the azure moon in one hand, and the 9th calamity battle aura quickly disappeared, and all his battle aura was injected into the light wheel odd crystal. Swish! Rumble! The moment the energy barrier dissipated, a sonic boom wreaked havoc. Countless movement techniques, bloodline abilities, special constitutions, and strange techniques were unleashed at the same time. But everyone suddenly felt a purple-red dragon light flash past, and it was ridiculously fast. It was a few steps ahead of everyone else, and reached the center of the area where the sage's remains were. Who is it? Is this an orange-grade movement technique? It's so fast. It's Lin Chun from the Black Horse Club. Damn, he can still be so fast with a woman on his back. All the geniuses were stunned. Lin Chun had killed his way into the center of the sage's remains. But he didn't snatch the sage's remains immediately, and each corpse was scattered in a different location. Not only did he not snatch the sage treasure, but he also slashed with one hand. Scram over there for me. Lin Chun roared in anger. Rumble. The surging Milky Way blade aura flashed out from his blade, and as it spun rapidly, it released the extreme light calamity battle aura. Almost all the geniuses were stunned for 1,000th of a second. What was he trying to do? Draw his blade on all the sage's remains? But in the next moment, a scene that made the geniuses' scalps go numb appeared. Bang! The Aurora blade aura that was spinning 360 degrees suddenly exploded, bursting into countless fragments. Every blade aura fragment was as clear as jade, and it released an aurora that could shatter heaven and earth. Bang! 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 The fragments of the saber energy were like a rain of flowers that filled the sky. They fluttered about and crashed into the remains of all the saints like a violent storm. The 56 saint corpses were bombarded by the violent saber chi fragments, and were sent flying even further away by the large number of saber chi fragments. They all flew in different directions and became even more scattered. All the geniuses and antiques gasped. They were dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. Crazy. He must be crazy. Lin Chen's opening move was an orange-gray blade technique. He blasted all the sage's remains away and scattered them. Was this person sick? What's more, he's seriously ill. What was the meaning of this? It's fine if you don't want the sage treasure, but you're still here to mess things up? Lin Chen said, "You may profit, but I will never lose. I use God's tears right off the bat. How should I say this? Sorry, I don't intend to play by the rules, Luo Yao." Chapter 1082. Many experts felt their scalps go numb. Was Lin Chen crazy? Zhao Tianquan's mouth twitched. This kid also refined a low-grade, odd crystal. He clearly saw the odd crystal power surging in Lin Chen's right arm the moment he swung the blade. Otherwise, even if the power of this blade was of the orange grade, it wouldn't be able to send all the sage remains flying so easily. What the F asterisk CK? This kid is scheming. Let's get the sage remains back first. All the geniuses instinctively rushed towards the sage remains that were sent flying. No one expected this to happen. Who the F asterisk CK would expect this? Everyone was here to snatch the sage treasures. This was like a group of people going to the cafeteria to get their food, and a weirdo suddenly jumped out and kicked the cafeteria's bowl away. If he wasn't F asterisk king sick, then what was? Furthermore, no one expected that the Black Horse Club's Lin Shan would be so fast. Almost 99% of the people didn't realize that among the sage remains that were sent flying by Lin Shan, only the Atlas Battle Sage's remains were missing. But everyone's attention was on the large number of sage remains. The moment the blade aura fragments sent the 56 sage remains flying, everyone rushed towards the scattered sage remains. The main reason was that most of the geniuses suspected that this was a scheme. They suspected that Lin Shan still had a backup plan and wanted to take more sage treasures for himself. So they subconsciously rushed towards the sage remains. "Now, you bunch of idiots, go and snatch it." Lin Chen's eyes lit up. Swish, swish, swish. Almost at the same time that all the sage remains were sent flying, all the clones rushed to the Atlas Battle Sage remains. There's indeed a problem. As expected of the man who massacred the genius list, you're really strange. I want to see what's so special about this sage remains. Almost instantly, a group of geniuses appeared and attacked from all directions. There was Zhao Tianquan, ranked 4,188 on the genius list. There was an arrogant youth with black wings on his back, Southern Region Dark Fiend, Fei Anqing, ranked 1910 on the genius rankings. There was also a handsome young man standing on a flaming sword with a frivolous smile on his face. He was ranked 1999 on the genius ranking, Yan Wuxia, the Dark Flame Sword Emperor. There was also a cold-looking woman in a red robe. She carried a sword on her back and slashed out with a beam of sword light. She was ranked 6666 on the genius ranking. She was Jian Qingcheng. Looks like they're not all fools. Zhao Tianquan aside, the other three are a little troublesome. Among this group of people, Lin Chen clearly felt that the lower the ranking of the geniuses, the more ridiculous the pressure they gave him. These geniuses were different from other geniuses. Their attitude towards the Saint Trove was more casual, and they didn't attach much importance to it. They had entered the sacred Burial Mountain range for another purpose, but the Black Horse Club's actions had aroused their interest. Lin Chen had just used God's tears, so his meridians were throbbing and his battle chi was lacking. He had yet to recover. However, this was definitely not out of his expectations. He did not expect that he would be able to send everyone away with that move of his. Rune of Slowing. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. After consuming 400 points of rune energy, Lin Chen instantly used 4 runes of slowing. His clones took the opportunity to gather their attacks. Flying daggers, spears, and swords all appeared at the same time. Consumed 480 talent points. All clones used the instant light shadow talent. Unexpectedly, the four of them seemed to be on guard. Lin Chen's rune of slowing only sealed their breathing for less than 1/5 of their time before the power of the odd crystals emerged from their bodies and broke through the restriction. The red-robed woman, Jian Qingcheng, and Yin Wuxia were even more ridiculous. They broke through Lin Chen's rune of slowing faster than the others. Damn, so fierce. Lin Chen was shocked. This number of runes of slowing could even stop a sage who had opened a sacred point for a small pause. But these guys actually broke through in the blink of an eye. Zhao Tianquan broke through the restriction and activated the power of the odd crystals. His momentum was like a sandstorm that destroyed the sky. He pushed his hands horizontally and struck out two yellow sand dragons that collided with Zhang Dezhang's Imperial Sky Golden Rainbow. Fei Anxing condensed a black moon in his hands and pushed it through the air, blasting through the moonlight slash of Mirror Moon Imperial God. Yin Wuxia held his sword and slashed horizontally, slashing apart the tyrannical flames burning the Heaven Sword. Of all the clones, Zhang Dexiu's most powerful attack, Lucky Feather, Jian Qingcheng, was even more ridiculous. He used his finger as a sword and easily shattered the Sword Fury Sky and Shadow Flying Dagger quadruple attack. Too strong. The latter three geniuses were even stronger than Zhao Tianquan. The clones obtained the basic elemental attribute increase from the light wheel odd crystals, but they could not stop the three of them. Little Shadow slammed into the air and blocked Zhao Tianquan. System kill move. Lin Chen's mind was like lightning. With a flick of his finger, he consumed 900 rune energy and 3 slowing talismans fell from the sky, suppressing Fei Anxing, Jian Qingcheng, and Yin Wuxia. These guys were too perverted. He had forced Lin Chen to use his killing move in the first exchange. Without using the power of the odd crystals, Lin Chen's clones could not stop Fei Anxing and the others at all. But the current situation was special. The clones could not lose their fighting strength in order to make a powerful attack. The geniuses were slightly surprised. Only Jian Qingcheng remained indifferent. Her delicate body burst forth with a sword cry as she forcibly broke through the slowing talisman. Xiu xiu. Above the geniuses' heads, the purgatory wind was like a tornado that swallowed Yin Wuxia, Fei Anxing, and Jian Qingcheng, activated the blue rank intermediate killing move, and locked onto the 3 enemy targets. The battle between the two sides only lasted for a breath of time. Lin Chen finally stopped the 4 of them. Even my solitary 1,000 flame steps can't avoid these attacks. Yin Wuxia shook his head and sighed. His expression became more dignified. With a sword in hand, he activated his fire-type power of the odd crystal and danced out layers of flaming sword shadows to block all the purgatory wind. In this gap, the Dragon Emperor transformed into his human form and flapped his wings to obtain the storage ring of the Sky Prime Battle Sage. Lin Chen's heart was burning with excitement. I finally got the remnant of the Tai Heaven concealing technique. Be careful. Luo Yao reminded Lin Chen. A ghostly afterimage mixed with a purple-gold light pierced towards Lin Chen's heart. This ray of light was extremely strange. It had the smell of corroding thousands of battle auras, causing any defense to be greatly reduced. Lin Chen's Imperial Heaven Metal Chi was pierced by the purple-gold light and was about to pierce through his heart. Host activated super-dimensional teleportation. Carrying target. 1. Consumed 36 talent points to teleport to the clone's location. Shua. The spatial light beam shone down, and Lin Chen and Yin Wuxia disappeared. The ghost masked man who was hiding in the afterimage frowned. He can actually use space travel? So close. Where did this old fox come from? Damn it. Lin Chen's mouth twitched. 9 colored starlight condensed in his palm. His battle aura had just recovered by 70%, and it began to decrease rapidly again. All the battle aura was transferred to the wheel-light, odd crystal. In the next moment, Lin Chun threw the 9 Calamity Star at the ghost masked man. With his current elemental attribute values, using the 9 Calamity Star was enough to let people know what it meant to explode and soar into the sky. Consumed 310 advanced rune energy, 102 intermediate talent points. Activated charge, penetration, heavenly invisibility, slow rune. Increased power, 290%. Activated instant light, split shadow talent. Activated complete passive talent, assault. Increased power, 70%. Wong. The 9-colored star turned into the extreme star and fell down. Suddenly, it split into 5 and suddenly disappeared. This scene shocked the ghost masked man to the point that his body trembled and he wanted to use his movement technique to retreat. Chi, a gray talisman, fell from the sky and froze the space around him. Not good. The ghost masked man crushed the jade pendant in his palm and activated his defense with all his might. His body turned into a dark cloak to protect himself. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.